hosted by Belmont University.
Smidgen.
As the newest co-chair of the commission, I'm proud to work alongside dedicated board members and a talented staff and crew who, against uphill odds, have built a nonpartisan institution since the commission was established in 1987.
When do you think is the last time this
Our
guy
sole
has had
mission
sex?
continues to
Jesus
be
Christ. Who
the
is this
holding
guy?
of debates
Does anybody know?
that serve and inform the American people. Now, please spare me a moment to explain the commission's efforts. Debates have evolved over the past 3 decades.
Disconnected.
More transparent criteria for qualification of debate participants, the trend toward a single moderator in order to focus greater attention on the candidates, and the allocation of time for different subject areas are but a few of the many changes that have been made. Many of the details for organizing the debates are left to agreement by the candidates themselves. The commission has selected the times and places for debates, the moderators, and the debate formats. Based on experience, these are issues that, if left to the negotiations between the candidates' campaigns, are nearly impossible to resolve in a timely manner. In fact, it were protracted and at times unworkable negotiations on these types of issues that led, in part, to the establishment of the commission itself.
It's a vodka lemonade.
While there is always drama every 4 years,
at my apartment,
and this year is no exception, the process has worked. And post-debate research shows that the American people have considered these debates an important part of our political process. Debates have also created civic education opportunities for the schools and communities that have hosted them.
Hey, Kayla,
Here at Belmont, the university has launched the debate programming series that explores issues ranging from democracy to social media.
That's what I want to know.
The commission has augmented these voter education efforts by establishing Debate Watch, which allows participants in all 50 states and Puerto Rico to exchange views on issues raised in debates and to listen respectfully to each other's opinions. Debate Watch 2020 will include more than 1 million participants. Overseas, the commission, in partnership with the National Democratic Institute, has helped organize more than 400 candidate debates in 45 countries, most importantly in new and emerging democracies. This initiative has led to the formation of Debates International, a support network of debate organizers from nearly 40 countries. I wanted to recognize the Commission's longest-standing supporter. For the past 32 years, the Judy and Peter Bloom Kovler Foundation has given its trust to the nonpartisan work of the Commission, and we are deeply grateful for their generous contribution to this year's debates. Now, it is my distinct honor to introduce Dr. Bob Fisher, President of Belmont University.
Another guy. He's introducing another guy that's not either of the guys that we want to hear speak. Oof, I guess these are like the openers. I guess like this is considered the host and this is a guest spot. You know, like if this were a comedy show,
good evening,
go
everyone.
Up and do
tonight's
a tight 10,
to
tight
celebrate
5,
America.
rather.
But if you're Belmont, it's a night to just express gratitude and thankfulness.
You're drinking
for
water
all
in
that's
the
been
UK?
done,
Oh my goodness, Ian.
and the
Ian,
opportunities
is that your
that
name
we've
or is
been
it
given. I want to
Leanne?
thank the commission for your support.
If I can boost my
Janet
volume?
Brown,
Oh, I
thank
can
you.
do that.
Thank you
I
to
can
the
boost it.
co-chairs.
How about that?
Thank you
I
so
boosted
much.
it.
You know, it's one thing to be a partner when times are kind of easy.
I don't know what's going on with this
It's
chat.
amazing. When times get tough,
Maybe,
that's when real
I'm
partnerships
on the internet.
get
Maybe I have
formed
too
that
many,
stick. And this has been a
Maybe I have too
bonding
many things
experience.
on
So
the
thank you so much to the
internet.
commission. Thank you to HCA Healthcare.
The elbow bumps
They're the
are
ones
so
that
silly, Edward. They're so
giving
effing.
you all these tests
say
and
it,
have
they're
made
gay.
sure that everybody here tonight
And by
is
gay, it's
safe.
silly.
Their goal was to make this the
Like
safest
they're
place
all
in
shaking
America
hands
tonight.
behind the scenes.
Along
but
with
they're
the
like, let's
Secret
just do
Service,
the
who I also
lame
want to thank,
elbows
and Metro
for the
Police, who I want to
cameras.
thank, all together have made this the safest place in America tonight. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you, Mayor Cooper, for your support.
I wonder if he's going to thank
Thank
me.
you,
I'm the
Governor
mayor.
Lee.
Probably not.
Thank you to the Nashville
Probably
Convention and
not.
Visitors Corporation and the National Chamber
Right,
of
I
Commerce,
tweeted it
all
out.
of you. But most of all,
Almost.
I just
Yeah,
want
you're
to
right,
say
Jumping
a
Survivor.
heartfelt thank you to the students of Belmont University for sharing their
How
campus
many more
with you,
openers are
all
there
of you
going to
this
be?
week. This has been a complicated and unusual semester, to say the least. I want to thank the Ryman Hospitalities Corporation for taking
Somebody
several
already
hundred of
tweeted
our
out.
students and letting them stay overnight last
picture of my
night
thing.
and through
That's
the day
great.
today.
Oh my
I was
God!
worried
Look
the
at
students
this
would be
picture that
complaining
someone
about
made.
that.
This is
Actually,
Nelson.
they say they
How
don't want to
beautiful
come
is
back.
that? I love fan art. I
They
love
have
fan
a
art
water
more than
park
anything
out
in the whole
there, and
world.
all, but we're
This
going to
is
get them
great. I'm
back.
gonna save this forever. I'm
But
gonna put
Our
this on my
students
wall.
have embraced
Thanks,
the
guys.
challenge of living safely together, and we simply couldn't have done that without them.
Who's
You're
this
probably
opener guy?
wondering
Does anybody know
who
this
these
guy?
two people are that are standing here beside me. Well, this is Molly Deakins, and this is Kendra Turner. They co-chaired the student volunteer
Chippa. We
group
gotta
of
get
250
Chippa on. I'm working
students
on
who
a
made this thing happen
dating
here
show,
at
a
Belmont
live dating
University. I'm
show
so grateful
on Wet
to
Spot
them.
for Chip Chipperson
Thank you, and thank all the
ladies,
Belmont
some hot
volunteers
ladies that could
for
win a
what
date
you've
with
done
him.
here.
That is what I would love to see
And
happen.
finally,
So we're gonna
I have to
we're
say
gonna work
this,
on
I've prayed
scheduling that
enough about this
ASAP.
happening that it'd be totally disingenuous if I didn't say thank you, God.
Look
that
at
is
this,
about
the
to happen.
matching mask and
God
dress.
bless America. Thank you.
Jill, you've outdone yourself, girl. Pulled out all the stops for the matching dress and mask. Wow. She's like, can we get more cameras on my matching mask and dress? Melania is looking great right now. She's got a subdued black sleeveless frock, a belt. Again, matching the mask to the dress. I guess that is a bit of a trend with the political ladies tonight. Not mad at it. I'm cool with it. The Commission on Presidential Debates, I had no idea there was a commission. I just thought they happened. But since I know there is a commission, I think that somebody should look into the uncomfortable stool that Trump had to sit in at the last town hall, because that looked on purpose uncomfortable. All right, I wonder if anybody else is going to do time before the debates start. I wonder if they're just like, I mean, can these people get coffee? Are they allowed to have snacks at their sides? Like, these people don't look particularly socially distanced. They look just like regular distanced. That's my FLOTUS. You know what? I'm there because there's like a pause between the stream and the comments. If I read the comments and they don't like really match up with what's happening, I'm sorry. But I want to acknowledge the comments. Do I think that masks and veils will become a fashion accessory? I fucking hope they don't, Edward. It's a little too weird for me. It's a little too icky. It doesn't seem American to me. And I don't think the coof is that big of a deal. It's just for show. What's up, Richard? Richard was at the Secret Show this past Saturday in Connecticut. Woo, was that dramatic. I think there actually might be one more Secret Show in the works for November, and it may also be in Connecticut, but I'm not gonna say a thing is happening before it's happening.
Moderator for this evening's debate is Kristen Welker of NBC
Who is
News.
this? Is this RBG? She's back from the dead.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Another guest spot. Who is
Thank
this?
you so much for being here. It is such an honor for me to moderate this debate tonight.
She's
the
going,
final debate. I
she's
want to
loose.
welcome the
She's
first
not
family
she's
and
not
the First
beholden
Lady.
to
We're
the
so
podium.
glad and thankful that
I
you
already
are
like
feeling better.
this.
I want to welcome the Biden family, Dr. Jill Biden. Thank you all for being here tonight. We are so excited. We're looking
Love
forward
the hoop
to
earring.
a really robust
I like her shirt
discussion.
because
And the
I
only
think when
thing
you're
I
like a
would
lady who
reiterate
works
are
in
the
politics, you
CPD
really can't dress
guidelines
overtly
that when the
sexy.
candidates
I
are
think you have to
talking,
just like
please hold
do a
any
little bit of a
applause
tease.
or
Like
any
she's like, you know
other
what? Let me
reactions,
wear
except,
a
of
sort
course,
of
when they walk
pirate
out. Make sure you
maiden
cheer
top
loud and applause
that
so
the
that
horny
everyone can hear
boys
you.
will
Thank you
watch
for
and they'll
having me.
imagine
This
just
is
like
really the honor of a lifetime.
pulling the
I am
whole
going
thing
to
off.
sit
I don't
down
know.
and
Maybe
just
I'm the
get
only pervert
organized and get
thinking
settled.
these thoughts,
and
but I think this
show
is
will
just
start
about
very
as
soon.
sexy as you can get for political tops. So well done. God, I didn't even catch her name. This is what happens when I talk over the talking. This is great that I can. Do you know? It's so funny. Like your comments that are held for review, it takes almost nothing. It takes like just a curse word, and then I have to go in here and like manually free them. She does look like an SNL actor. That's funny. Just be safe from the China flu. I've decided to wear a white hood that completely covers my head. Oh, Bencher. Oh, thanks, Phil. This is crazy. I was never, ever expecting this many people in the chat or commenting. Like, I am so new to this live streaming world. So, I mean, the fact that this is even working is blowing my mind. Oh, $2.99 from Frank Pellegrino. This money so I can get a new mic? Oh, man, I think my mic is okay. I mean, but if it's really fucked, I'll get a new one. She needs a bonnet and a butter churn to complete the sexy look. Yes, Eldon, I completely agree that shirt was borderline like a peasant top. You know, like I expect there's a ruffled sleeve under that jacket. Julio, would wearing gray sweatpants be a power move by either candidate? Yes, I would, Julio, especially if they were packing a nice piece downstairs. I think if either candidate has a big dick, now is really their time to shine. Because at this point, most of us have made up, I would say 99% of us have made up our minds on who we're going to vote for. But I think if someone were to come out with a semi-boner in a pair of sweatpants, I think that would be the headline tomorrow, not any of the issues. I think if Joe Biden is truly trying to dodge the Hunter Biden laptop news, he should be coming out in like a wacky outfit or have his penis out or something to get the media talking about something other than his son's crazy ass laptop. But we'll see. I mean, he has people around him that are probably advising him against certain things. You need some of those foam silencers on the wall. Oh, you're buffering. 2-star dog. Oh no. I'm so torn. Do I watch you or do I watch Michael Malice? I mean, if you want to learn things, I would say go to Michael Malice. But if you're feeling overwhelmed and you just need something fluffy, I would say go ahead and come back here. I'm going to be talking about people's outfits. I'm going to be talking about who is looking fuckable or not. I'm going to be talking about Wet Spot. Hi, Michael Gavin Ali. Are you a boy or is Michael Gavin Ali in the chat? Ooh, girl. Who am I voting for? I think you guys could figure it out. I'm pretty sure. You know, I'm going to do what Matthew McConaughey does, and I'm going to say, look, I'm not going to say who I'm voting for, because you're just going to clip it and play it on the mainstream media and make me look bad. Yeah. Yeah, Kumi is moving. I mean, I'm not shocked, but I was surprised. I also didn't know that his house was worth $3.1 million, because I've been in his house. It's real nice, but I didn't know it was $3.1 million nice. So I'm glad I actually had a chance to like go in the pool and use the bathroom and like get the feel of it. So I don't know. I hope he hangs around for a few more months. I'm gonna miss him, but I'll definitely go visit him in South Carolina if that is where he ends up. I think Biden's only chance of more votes now if he helicopter wheels his dick when he comes on stage. Yeah, I would love to see that too. I would love to see that too. All right, some people are saying some inappropriate things in the chat. Wow, my boobs really do look big. Good God. Not sorry about it though. Sorry, not sorry. There's a 0% chance Elsa Jean will show up on Malice's stream, so I'll stay. Oh, really? Did Michael Malice invite Elsa Jean onto his stream? Huh. No, Gino. I mean, I would love to have Gino. We live like he lives in Harlem, and I live in Westchester, so I mean, I would happily have him. This was a very last minute decision, honestly. But if I would have done it at the Compound Media Studio, but you know, we didn't get our shit together. Hey, just finished the Gavin interview. Great stuff. Thanks, Nick G. Yeah, I was honestly nervous interviewing him because, you know, it's one thing when you interview somebody who you're friends with or you work with. That usually gives me like a leg up in terms of comfort, but with like Gavin, that was like the first even conversation I've had with him. And when the first conversation you're having with somebody is recorded and like gonna be saved forever, it's like, ugh, it's nerve-wracking. Plus I was like, oh man, I should have read my ads before putting him on. But it's okay. He was a good sport. He sat through the Silk City and the Blue Chew ads. Maybe I'll send him some Blue Chew in a little thank you basket. That sounds like a good idea. Woot was looking for Malice livestream, but just as happy with Mayr livestream. Oh, thanks, Certs. Wow. It is awkwardly silent before this debate. Like, what's going on? Did someone get diarrhea? Oh, now they're zooming in. What are they zooming in on? Oh, what's coming up? The peasant lady's back with her top. Is she gonna undo?
Good evening from Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Kristen Welker of NBC News, and I welcome you to the final 2020 presidential debate between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Tonight's debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. It is conducted under health and safety protocols.
Thank you for the super
designed
chat,
by
Michael
the
Gavin
Commission's
Ali.
Health Security Advisor.
Yeah, I agree with you.
The
I don't think the
audience here
Hunter
in the
Biden
hall has
storyline will be
promised to
brought
remain
up at
silent.
all. I
No
100%
cheers, boos, or
agree
other
with you.
interruptions,
100%.
except right
Also,
now, as we welcome to the
Vodka
stage
thank you so much
former
for the
Vice
super
President
chat.
Joe Biden
Oh,
and
thank
President
you for
Donald J. Trump.
saying that I do great work. Oh, she introduced Trump first. I wonder if that means she likes him better. We will see. Oh, shit. No, she introduced Biden first. I really should listen to this. Yeah, I wonder who Kristen prefers.
And I do want to say a very good evening to both of you. This debate will cover 6 major topics. At the beginning of each section, each candidate will have 2 minutes uninterrupted
I want to see if she'll
answer my
undo
first
a button,
question.
like,
The debate
after each
commission will then
question.
turn on their microphone
you guys would like
only
to see
when
that
it is
too.
their turn to answer, and the commission will turn it off exactly when
Okay,
the 2
let's
minutes have expired.
establish
After
some
that,
ground
both
rules.
microphones will
Every time they
remain
mention
on, but on
mention
behalf
Hunter
of the voters,
Biden
I'm going to ask you to
or a
please
laptop,
speak one
you
at
have to take a
time.
drink,
The goal
okay?
is for you to hear each other,
Because I bet it's gonna
for
come
the
up.
American people to hear every word of what you
Oh,
both
thanks,
have
extra
to
limit.
say. And so with that,
No,
if
leave
you're
comment
ready,
away.
let's start.
I
And
appreciate
we will
it.
begin with the fight against the coronavirus. President Trump, the first
Oh,
question
talk
is
about
for you.
coronavirus.
The country is heading into a dangerous new phase. More than 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So please be specific. How would you lead the country during this
They're
next
probably
stage of the coronavirus
just old
crisis?
people
2
who are
minutes
gonna
uninterrupted.
die anyway of other shit.
As you know, 2.2 million people modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide
China. Also, every time
pandemic.
Trump says
It's all over the
China,
world.
you
You
take
see
a
the
drink.
spikes in Europe and
China.
many other places right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%.
His voice sounds a
the
little
excess
hoarse.
mortality rate
Trump's
is way
voice
down
sounds a
and
little
much
hoarse.
lower
Maybe
than
he was
almost any other
yelling.
country. And we're fighting it, and we're fighting it hard.
Over
There is
there.
a spike. There was a spike in Florida. and
Spike.
It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in
I
other
like a
places.
man
They
not
will soon be
threatened by
gone.
a
We have a
by a
vaccine that's
spike.
coming. It's
You know what I
ready.
mean?
It's
It's an
going to
inside
be
joke to
announced
cop out
within
media.
weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military is
Operation
going to
Warp
distribute
Speed.
the vaccine. I can tell you from personal experience that I was in the hospital. I had it, and
not
I
a
got
big
better.
deal.
And I will tell you that I had something that
had
they gave
COVID.
me, a therapeutic, I guess they would call it. Some people could say it was a cure. But
I can't believe no
I was in
one's
for a short
interrupted
period of
Trump
time,
yet.
and
I
got
mean,
better
this is
very fast,
already
or I wouldn't be here tonight.
such a
And
different
now they say I'm immune. Whether
scenario.
it's 4 months or a
This is such a
lifetime,
different
nobody's
debate
been able to say
already.
that. But I'm immune. More and more people
I'm
are
immune.
getting
No, I didn't
better.
see the
We
60-minute
have,
interview that
a
Trump
problem
posted.
that's
What
a
were your thoughts
worldwide
on it?
problem. This is a
Big Daddy Trump
worldwide
is
problem.
looking leaner
But
every
I've been
day.
congratulated by the heads of many countries
Yeah.
on what we've been able to do.
I think
with
Trump's done a
the-
good job
if
with
you
the
take a
Rona.
look at what
He
we've
shut
done
down
in
all the
terms
travel
of
right away.
goggles
What the
and
fuck else can you
masks
do? You're
and
not like,
gowns
you know,
and everything else.
gonna
and
go
in
cover
particular
everybody's
ventilators.
cough
We're now
and shit.
making
What do you
ventilators
guys? I don't know.
all over the world,
gotta
thousands and
answer the
thousands a
question,
month,
obviously.
distributing them all over the world. It will go away, and as I say, we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner. It's going away.
It is going
Okay,
away.
former Vice President Biden, to you, how would you lead the country
Crushed it.
out of this
Do you
crisis?
think they plan
You have
out
2
who's
minutes
wearing what color
uninterrupted.
tie?
220,000
Where am I?
Americans dead.
What?
You hear
Where
nothing
am I?
else I say tonight. hear this.
Do you think Joe Biden
Anyone who's responsible
had a
for
big
not
glass of
taking
Metamucil
control,
before this?
in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as president.
Oh
of the
shit!
United States
Right
of
off the
America.
bat, he's blaming
We're
Trump
in a
for the
situation
deaths.
where there are
That's bold.
1,000
That's bold, Biden.
deaths a day now. 1,000 deaths a day. And there are over 70,000 new cases per day. Compared to what's going on in
He's
Europe,
like, first of all,
as
this
the
is
New England
past my
Medical Journal
bedtime.
said, they're starting from a very
I'm
low
full.
rate. We're
I'm
starting
full
from a
of
very high
pills.
rate. The expectation is we'll have another 200,000 Americans
What's going
dead
on with his eye?
time between now and the end of the year.
His left
We just
eye.
wore these masks. The president's own advisors have told him we could save 100,000 lives.
He's
And we're in a
obviously
circumstance where the president thus far
owned by
still
Big
has
Mask.
no
I think Big
plan,
Mask has a stake
no comprehensive plan.
in Biden's
What I would do
potential
is make
next
sure we have
presidency.
everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure
Yeah, Trump
we
does
move in
look
the
okay
direction
after
of
the
rapid
Rona.
testing, investing in rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national standards.
Biden,
on how
why
to
don't you
open
do a
up
rapid
schools and
dementia
open up
test? I
businesses
think
so
that's
they can
what
be
the
safe
American
and
voters
give them
would
the
really like to
wherewithal, the
see
financial
the most
resources to be
is
able
how
to do
fast
that.
is your brain
We're in a situation
withering
now
away?
where the New England Medical Journal, one of the most serious journals in the whole world, said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks, I will take care of this. I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan.
You can't do shit,
President Trump,
Biden.
I'd like to follow up with you
Sorry,
in
I'm
your
getting fired
comments.
up.
You talked about taking a therapeutic. I assume you're referencing
His
Regeneron. You also
lizard
said a
suit is coming off.
vaccine will
That's
be
funny.
coming within weeks.
Yes.
Is that a guarantee?
No, it's not a guarantee, but it will be by the end of the year. But I think it has a good chance. There are two companies, I think, within a matter of weeks, and it will be distributed very quickly.
Can you tell us which
Are
companies?
they Bill Gates companies?
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well.
Okay.
Moderna is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well, and we have numerous others. Then we also have others that we're working on very closely with other countries, in particular Europe.
Let me follow up with you, and because this is new information, you have said a vaccine is coming soon, within weeks now. Your own officials say it could take well into 2021 at the earliest for enough Americans to get
Well,
vaccinated.
yeah, most vaccines
And even then, they
take
say the country will
longer
be
than
wearing
6
masks
months.
and distancing into 2022. Is your timeline realistic?
No, I think my timeline is going to be more accurate. I don't
My
know that
timeline
they're
is
counting
the
on the
best
military the way I
timeline.
do,
My
but we have our
timeline is
generals lined up. One in
huge.
particular, that's the head of logistics, and this is a very easy distribution for him. He's ready to go as soon as we have the vaccine.
If you vote for
and we
me,
expect to
we're
have
gonna have the
100
best
million vials.
vaccines.
As soon as we
It'll
have
be
the
very
vaccine, he's
strong.
ready to go.
Vice President
Can't do
Biden,
it,
your
though.
reaction, and just 40% of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus
I already like
vaccine
Christie so much
if it
better
was
because she's
approved
not
by the
coming off
government.
like
What steps
cunty
would you take
off the
to give
bat.
Americans
She's just
confidence
asking questions.
in a vaccine if it were approved?
Make sure it's totally transparent. Have the science
gonna be see-through.
world
It's
see
gonna
it.
be very
Know it.
transparent.
Look at it. Go through all the processes. And by the way, this is the same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow who told you
Ugh.
that, don't worry, we're going to end this by the summer. We're about to go into a dark
I don't
winter.
think he ever
A
said
dark
either
winter.
of those things.
And he has no clear plan,
He's
and there's
never
no
promised it,
prospect
and you
that
can't
there's gonna
promise
be a
anybody
vaccine
an end
available
date on a
for the
fucking
majority of the American
pandemic.
people before the middle of next year.
President Trump, your reaction, he says
I
you
don't
have no
think we're
plan.
going to have a
He
dark
said you have
winter
no plan.
at all. We're opening up our country. We've learned and studied and understand the disease, which we didn't at the beginning. When I closed and banned China
He looks very
from coming
tan.
in heavily
I
infected,
think
and
he
then
got
ultimately
a couple
Europe.
of extra
But
hits
China
of
was in
self-tanner
January.
before
Months
tonight.
later, he was
Which
saying
good.
I
Good
was
for him. He
xenophobic.
looks
I did
fresh.
it too soon. Now he's saying, "Oh, I
Rested.
should have, moved quicker."
Yeah,
But he
exactly.
didn't move
Having a
quicker. He
vaccine
was
is
months
not
behind
going to
me.
end
Many
shit.
months behind
It's
me.
just something they
And
like to
frankly,
obsess on,
he ran
and
the
something they
H1N1
can blame Trump for.
swine
Biden
flu,
does look like
and
a
it was
corpse.
a total
You
disaster,
are correct,
far less
JT.
lethal.
Yeah, he
But
didn't want the public to
it was
panic.
a
I
total
fully
disaster.
support that because
Had that
I
had this kind
wouldn't
of
want to panic. Would you guys
numbers,
want to panic? I'm pro
700,000
not
people
panicking.
would be
Because
dead
guess what?
right now.
It's something that's
But it was a far less
99%
lethal
survivable.
disease. Look, his own person who ran that for him, who, as you know, was his chief of staff, said it was catastrophic. It was horrible. We didn't know what we were doing. Now he comes up and he tells us how to do this.
Yes, I'm gonna
also,
keep this
everything
stream
that
up.
he said about
Yeah,
the way
baby.
every single move that he said we should make, that's what we've done. We've done all of it.
Bill
But he
Gates is
was
not a
way
doctor.
behind
You're right,
us.
JT.
Vice President Biden, your response.
My response is he is xenophobic, but not
My
because
response
he
is
shut down
that I'm constipated.
access from China. And he did it late after 40 countries had already done that. In addition to that, what he did, he made sure that we had 44 people that were in there in China trying to get to Wuhan to determine what exactly the source was. What did the president say in January? He said, no, he said, he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent.
Every time Joe Biden
we
says
owe him a debt of
transparent,
gratitude. We have to thank him. And then what happened was we started talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back to this. He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. And
he didn't do virtually nothing. He did a lot.
And he
shut
talks
down
about
the travel.
Don't worry. It's all
that
will be over
pretty
soon.
big.
Come on.
Come
There's
on,
not
man.
another serious
You know the
scientist
thing.
in the
Also,
world thinks
drink
it's
every
gonna
time
be
he says,
over
come
soon.
on.
President Trump, your
Or you know the
reaction?
thing.
Over soon. I say
Obviously.
we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in
Right,
a basement
exactly.
like Joe does. He has the
Oh,
ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's
He
obviously
said
made a lot
Joe's
of
in
money
the
someplace.
basement.
But he has this thing about living in a basement. People can't do that. By the way, I, as the president, couldn't do that. I'd love to put myself in the basement or in a beautiful room in the White House
Oh,
and go away
shit.
for a year and a half until it disappears.
He's not in the
I
basement.
can't do that. And Kirsten,
He's gotta leave
every meeting I had,
today.
and I'd meet a lot of families.
Yes, my
including
left
Gold
boob is a
Star
Democrat and my
families
right
and
boob
military
is
families.
Republican. This is
Every
a touchy
meeting I had,
subject,
and I had
Brian.
to
I was
meet
not
them.
prepared to
I had
think
to.
about it,
It
but
would be
I'm
horrible to
sort
have
of caught in the
canceled
middle
everything.
between
I
the
said,
two.
you know,
So it's difficult
this is
for me.
dangerous. And you catch it. And, you know, I caught it. I learned a lot.
I caught it.
learned a
It was
lot.
no big deal.
Great doctors, great
China.
hospitals. And now I recovered.
Yeah, nobody buys Biden.
99.9
Let's take a drink. China,
of young people
drink.
recover.
Drink, y'all.
99% of people recover. We have to recover. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school, and we
People
can't
do want
close
to
up
go out
our
and live.
nation.
Dude,
Or
it's
you're
been
not going
7
to have a
fucking months
nation.
already.
And
Like,
of course, the
enough.
CDC has said young people can get sick. with
Christie's got to start
COVID-19 and
unbuttoning
pass
some
it.
buttons, or
Vice
else I'm
President Biden, I
gonna
want to talk broadly about
start
strategy.
disliking her
though.
real quick.
You
Can
have
I respond to that?
30 seconds, please,
For
and then
30
I have a
seconds.
question.
No, number one, he says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it.
Oh,
You folks
relax,
home have an empty
you
chair at
old
the kitchen
turd.
table this morning. That man and
It's
wife going to
mostly
bed tonight and
survivable.
reaching over to try to touch their
99%,
out of
unless you're
habit where
fucking
their wife or
old,
husband
which
was, is gone.
you're gonna die from
Learning
something.
to live
Sorry.
with it. Come
I
on.
don't mean to sound insensitive,
We're dying
but like,
with it because he's never said. You said it's dangerous.
I have
When's
enough
the last
vodka.
time?
Oh, wow,
Is
I'm
it
getting
really
topped
dangerous
off.
still? Are we dangerous? You tell the people
at
it's
this.
dangerous now. What should they
look at
do
this, my
about the
producer's
danger?
trying to get me drunk.
And you
Stop
say,
it.
I take
Keep
no
going.
responsibility.
Another ice cube would be
Let me
great.
talk
I'm
about
just
your
kidding.
Excuse me, I take
Very
full,
quickly.
I take full responsibility.
Yeah, he takes
It's not my fault
responsibility.
that he came here. It's China's fault. And you know what?
China.
It's not Joe's fault that he
Oh,
came
China,
here.
we got a drink.
It's
Ah, my drink,
China's
you
fault.
took it away.
They kept it from going into
China,
the rest of
drink,
China
drink,
for
drink.
the most part, but they didn't keep it from coming out to the world, including
For
Europe and
sure.
ourselves.
For sure, Biden is on Adderall. People love
Fact is
giving
that
Trump
when we
shit for
knew it
Adderall,
was
but
coming,
Biden is
when
on
it hit,
a
What happened?
number of
What did the
pills
president
tonight.
say?
Ooh,
He
thanks.
said, "Don't worry, it's going to go away. Be gone by Easter. Don't worry. The warm weather."
I don't think he ever
worry.
said
Maybe
that.
inject bleach. He said he was kidding when he said that. But a lot of people thought it was serious. A whole range of things the president has said. Even today, he thinks we are in control.
I'm
We're
getting a
about to
little
lose
drunk.
200,000 more people.
Biden is ranting.
Look, perhaps just to finish this,
They're just like fighting.
I was kidding on that, but just to finish this, when I closed, he said I shouldn't have closed. And that went on
Exactly.
for months. What Nancy
He
Pelosi
said,
said the same
Nancy
thing. She
Pelosi
was
too.
dancing on
She
the
said, go
streets
to
in
China.
Chinatown
Go
in
to
San
Chinatown.
Francisco.
China, drink.
But when I closed, he said, this is a terrible thing. You're xenophobic. I think he called me racist
Yep.
even. And
He
because I was
he called them
closing
all
it
the
to
things.
China. Now he says I should have closed it earlier.
Yeah.
It
They're
just,
never going to be
Joe, it
happy.
doesn't-
I
There's
didn't say
nothing he
either
could have
of those
done that they would
things.
have been
You
like,
said
good
it
job, Trump.
You certainly
And I
did.
did. I talked about his xenophobia in a different context. It
Oh,
wasn't
okay,
about
yeah.
closing the border to Chinese coming to the United States.
All right, I want to talk about both of your different strategies to handle.
Good for
He
her,
thought I
Chrissy. She's
shouldn't
like,
have
change the
closed the
topic.
border.
Moving
That's
on.
obvious.
Do you want to respond to that quickly, Vice President
No.
Biden? Okay. Let's talk about your different
Did he mention the
strategies for
laptop? Did I
dealing
miss
with
it?
this. Mr. Vice President, you suggested you would support new shutdowns if scientists recommended it. What do you say to Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns, the impact on the economy, the higher rates of
No
hunger,
more
depression,
shutdowns.
domestic
If you're
and
pro
substance abuse
shutdown, you're a
outweighs
dick
the risk
and you
of
want
exposure
people
the
to
virus?
not
What I
thrive.
would say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country.
It's a little fucking too late and too weird to say that, Biden. You're not in position to do
Why
that.
businesses have gone under, why schools are closed, why so many people have lost their living, and why they're concerned. Those other concerns are real. That's why he should have been, instead of in a sand trap in his golf course, he should have been negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats and Republicans about what to do about the acts they were passing for billions of dollars to make sure people had the capacity.
Biden looks
You haven't
wired.
ruled out more shutdowns.
Well, no, I'm not
Shut
shutting
down,
down.
drink.
There are, look,
Sure. Drink every time it says
standard.
shut down.
The standard is if you have a reproduction rate in a community that's
Yeah, I
above a
gotta
certain
give it to her
level,
too. She is being pretty
everybody
unbiased.
says, slow up, more social distancing, do not open bars and do not open gymnasiums. Do not open until you get this under control.
He's going to
under
shut down
more
the
control.
virus. Now he's
But
saying
when you
keep the
do
places
open,
locked
give
down.
people the
He's
capacity to be
fucking
able to open and have the
flip-flopping.
capacity to do it safely. For example, schools, they need a lot of money to
It's
open.
obvious
They
that they're
going
gonna
to
open safely. The point is open
smaller
them.
classes, more teachers, more pods, and he's refused to support that money, or at least up to now.
Let's talk about schools. President
Well,
Trump,
I think we have to respond, if I might.
please, and then I have
Yes.
a
All
follow-up.
right,
Thank you,
she's
and I
letting him
appreciate
respond. Good job,
Look, all he does
Chrissy.
is talk about shutdowns, but forget about him.
Shutdowns.
His Democrat governors, Cuomo in New York. You look at what's going on in California. You look at Pennsylvania,
Preach,
North
preach,
Carolina.
preach on the
Democrats,
governors.
Democrats all.
Preach
They're
on that.
shut down so tight, and they're dying. They're
So
dying.
tight.
And
Like
he supports all
Melania's
these
vagina.
people. All he
Very
talks
tight.
about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down, and we have to open our schools. And it's like, as an example, I have a young son. He also tested positive.
Baron.
By the time I spoke to the doctor the second time, he was fine. It just
Oh.
went away. Young
It just
people-
goes away. It's
I
like
guess it's their
HPV.
immune
You
system.
have
Let me
it,
follow
and
up
then
with
you
you,
work
President
through
Trump.
it.
You've
Your body
demanded schools
spits
open
it
in
out.
person and insist they can do it safely. But just yesterday, Boston became the latest city to move its public school system entirely online after a coronavirus spike. What is your message to parents who worry that sending their children to school will endanger not only their kids but also their teachers and families?
Kids are
I
not
wanna
dying
open
from
the
this.
schools. The transmittal rate to the teachers is very small. But I want to open the schools. We have to open our country. We're not going to have a country. You can't do this. We can't keep this country closed. This is a massive
Quarrel, thanks.
country with a massive economy.
All right,
People are
that's
losing
interesting.
their jobs. They're committing suicide. There's
For
depression,
real.
alcohol,
That is something
drugs
nobody is
at a
talking
level
about
that
is people
nobody's ever
committing
seen
suicide
before.
and all this.
There's abuse, tremendous abuse. We have to open our country. You know, I've said it often.
You gotta
the
just open
cure
it up.
cannot be worse than the problem itself.
Vice
And that's
President.
what's happening. And
Yeah.
he wants to close down. He'll close down the country if one person in our massive bureaucracy says we should close it down.
Vice President Biden, your
Simply
response.
not true. We ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time.
You can't
We
do
ought to be
that.
able to safely open.
You can't walk and
Would
sip
they need
Metamucil at the
resources
same
to
time.
open? You need to be able to, for example, if you're going to open a business, have social distancing within the business. You need to have, if you have a restaurant, you need to have plexiglass dividers so people cannot.
That's so true. These
infect
kids
one
are,
another.
they do
You
need to be
in a
social, they
position
do
where
need
you
to be
can
in
take
person.
testing
Because
rapidly
they
and
already
know
were playing
whether a
too many
person
video games
is
and too
in
much on the
fact
TV.
infected.
And
You need
since
to be
this
able to
lockdown,
trace. You
it's
need
like,
to be able to
unless you've
provide
had really on
all
point
the
parents who are
resources
like
that are
reading
needed
with
to
you
do
and
this.
shit,
And
I
that
bet
is
there's a
not
ton of depressed
inconsistent
kids
with
right now. And that's
saying
why we
that
need to get the fucking schools
we're
open.
going to make sure that we open
get your
safely.
kids
And by
out
the way,
house.
all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it.
Not that many of you are
So
going to
don't worry about
die. Oh, now you're flipping.
President Trump, let me follow up
He's
with you
all
quickly.
over the
By way, I will
place
say
on this.
If you go and look at what's happened to New York, it's a ghost town.
It's a shithole.
It's a ghost town. And
Who
when you
knows?
talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying. These are businesses with no money.
Yeah.
Putting up plexiglass is unbelievably expensive.
New York
and it's not the answer. I
is
mean, you're going to sit there in a
in
cubicle
shambles.
wrapped around with plastic. These are businesses that
Yeah.
are dying, Joe. You can't do that to people.
Yeah,
you just
Joe.
can't. Take a look at New York and
Joe,
what's
get a
happened
grip.
to my wonderful city for so many years. I loved it. It was
See,
vibrant.
I
It's
think that
dying.
Biden is
Everyone's
probably
leaving
so
New York.
jealous that
Take a look
Trump
at what
is
New
like
York has done in terms of
tighter
turning
with
the
New
curve
York
down in terms of the
than
number
he
of
is with
people dying.
Scranton. Scranton
And
doesn't
I
give a
don't look
shit
at
about
this in
him.
terms of the way he
But New
does.
York is like,
blue
yeah,
states
Trump.
and red states. They're all the United States. And look at the states that are having such a spike in
Exactly.
the coronavirus.
The quarantine
They're the
is
red
making all of us
states.
fat.
They're the states in the Midwest. They're the states in the upper
I agree,
Midwest.
like
That's where the
terms.
spike is occurring significantly. But they're all Americans.
You
They're
gotta
all
get the jobs
Americans.
going.
And
Open
what
it
we
up.
have
If
to
people
do is
die,
say, wear
I'm
these
sorry, they're
masks,
probably gonna
number
die
one.
anyway.
Make sure we get the help that the businesses need.
It's more costly to keep everything shut
Money's
down.
already been passed to do that. It's been out there since the beginning of the summer, and nothing's happened.
President, New York has lost more than 40,000 people, 11,000 people in nursing homes.
President Trump, what
When you
about
say spike, take
Who
a
would
look
I
at
do?
what's happening
Okay, this, if I had to
in
have sex
Pennsylvania,
with one of them.
where they've had it closed.
Ugh,
Take a look at what's
I
happening
mean,
with your friend in
I
Michigan.
don't like that
where
I've
her
seen
husband's the
Biden
only
do
one
all
allowed
that
to do
sniffing, so I
anything.
might have to
It's
go
been
with
like
Trump.
a prison.
But Trump
Now,
would be,
it
I think,
just grew
sweatier in bed than
unconstitutional.
Biden. But I
Take a
think
look at
Biden would
North
have that
Carolina.
dehydrated
They're
old
having
man
spikes,
coffee breath.
and they've been
so,
closed, and they're getting
ooh, it's
killed
tough.
financially. We
guess
can't
I'm
let
gonna
that
go with
happen,
Trump.
Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up. And we understand the disease. We have to protect
Open
our
up.
seniors. We have
Just
to
like
protect our elderly.
Melania
We have
when
to
I met
protect
her.
especially our seniors with heart problems and diabetes problems. And we will protect them. We have the best testing in the world by far. That's why we have so many cases.
Let me follow up with you
Joe.
before we move on to our next section. President Trump, this week
Hi,
you
Brady.
called Dr. Anthony Fauci the nation's best-known infectious disease
Exactly.
expert. Quote,
Biden doesn't
"A
care as long as he
disaster,"
still gets some money
who
from his
described him and
crackhead
other
son.
medical
Yeah.
experts as, quote,
Danny!
idiots. If you're not listening to them, who are you listening to as you
Let me,
fight this?
I'm listening to all of them, including Anthony. I get along very well with Anthony. But he did say, don't wear masks.
Yeah.
He did say,
He did
as you
say
know,
that.
this is not going
Been
to
a
be
lot
a
of
problem.
conflicting info on the
I think
masks.
he's a
You
Democrat,
really
but that's
can't give
okay.
him shit
He said
about
this
that.
is not going to be a problem.
Thanks,
We're
Pat
not gonna have a
Maloney.
problem
Oh my
at
God,
all.
oh my God,
When
oh my
Joe says
God.
that,
Thanks,
I
Pat.
said, Anthony Fauci said, and others, and many others, and I'm not knocking him a lot. Nobody knew. Look, nobody
Yeah,
knew what this
he's
thing
not
was.
shitting on
Nobody
anybody.
knew
He's
where
handling
it was
this pretty
coming
well.
from, what it was.
Aw,
We've learned a lot.
Wayne.
But Anthony said, don't wear masks. Now he
Oh,
wants
Alex,
to
it's
wear masks.
bullshit in
Anthony
North
also
Carolina.
said,
That's where my
if you
brother
look back,
lives. He
exact
lives
words. Here's his
there,
exact words. This is no problem. This is
with
going
his
to go away
family.
soon. So
Where-
he's
where
allowed
in
to
North
make
Carolina are
mistakes.
you from,
He
Alex?
happens to be a good person.
Vice President Biden,
Yeah,
your
for sure
response quickly,
Biden
and then
keeps
we're gonna
his
move on
socks
to the
on
next
during
section.
sex. You're
response
totally
is
right about that.
Think about what the president knew in January and didn't tell the American people. He was told this was a
His
serious
job is
virus
to
that
keep
spread
people
in the air,
calm and
it was
lead.
much worse than
People
much
were
worse than
knocking
the
each
flu.
other down
He
for
went on
fucking
record
toilet
and
paper.
said
Like,
to
people were
one of your
already
colleagues,
panicking.
recorded that
You
in
don't
fact, he
need
knew
to
how
say shit that'll
dangerous
make
it
people
was, but he
panic
didn't want
more.
to tell us.
Especially from something that's
He
like
didn't want to tell us because he
mostly
didn't want us to
survivable.
panic.
This
He
is
didn't
an
want us. Americans
old,
don't
tired
panic.
narrative
He
Biden's
panicked.
bringing up.
But guess what? In the meantime, we find out in the New York Times the other day that, in fact, his folks went to Wall Street and said this is a really dangerous thing. And a memo out of that meeting, not from his administration.
I don't know, just the
but from
vibe
the
I'm getting
brokers
from
said,
Biden,
"Sell
he's
short
very
because we gotta get
defensive.
moving." It's a dangerous
Trump
problem.
is just-
I'm going to give you
this
30
is when I
seconds
have
to
it.
respond, and then
Yeah.
we're
The
going
Wall
to
Street
move
one,
on.
I don't know. Somebody went to Wall Street. You're the one that takes all the money from Wall Street. I don't take it. You have raised a
Get
lot of
into
money.
the laptop
Tremendous
thing.
amounts of money. And every time you raise money, deals are made, Joe. I could raise so
Yeah,
much
I
more
agree with
money
you, JT.
as president and as somebody that knows most
Aw,
of those
thanks,
people.
dude.
I
Hey,
could call the heads of Wall
Jude.
Street, the heads of
New
every
Hanover, is that
company in
near
America.
Raleigh?
I would blow away every record, but I don't want to do that
Blow 'em
because
away,
it puts me in
Trump.
a bad position. And then you bring up Wall Street. You shouldn't be bringing up Wall Street because you're the one that takes the money from Wall
How
Street. not
bad
me.
does
My
Trump
average-
want
I
to
could
fucking
blow
talk
away your
about
records
Ukraine and
that-
China
like
right
you wouldn't
now?
believe. We don't need money.
He's
We have
holding
plenty
back.
of money. In fact, we beat Hillary Clinton with a tiny fraction of the money that she was able
All right, gentlemen,
Oh,
we're going
Don't
to
yeah.
move
tell me
on.
about Wall
Average
Street.
Bring up Hillary.
contribution, $43.
All right, we're going to move on to our next section,
Biden's
which is
very
national
defensive.
security.
Trump is
and I
pretty
do want to
collected and
start
calm.
with the security of our elections and some breaking news from overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Just last night, top intelligence officials confirmed
Yeah, Biden
again
is
that
deer in
both
headlights,
Russia
you're right.
and Iran are working to influence this election. Both countries have obtained U.S. voter registration information, these officials say.
Isn't it
and
great?
Iran
Like,
sent
it's so
intimidating
funny that it's
messages
refreshing
to
the fact
Florida
that this Christie
voters.
chick is like,
This question goes
she's
to
just
you,
not
Mr.
a
Vice
cunt, and I'm
President.
like,
What
oh
would you
wow,
do to put an end
how
to this
refreshing.
threat? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Ooh,
I made it clear, and I ask everyone else to take the pledge. I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections will pay a price. They will pay a price. And it's been overwhelmingly clear this election. I won't even get into the last
Why
one.
does he
This
always look
election,
like he's
that
reading
Russia
off
has
of a
been involved,
teleprompter? It's
China's
just
been
his
involved to
face.
some degree, and now we learn that Iran is involved. They will pay
you gotta
a
drink
price
every
if
time he
I'm
says
elected.
Iran.
They're interfering
Drink.
with American sovereignty. That's what's going on right now. They're
Yeah,
interfering
he
with
does want to
American
mention Hunter.
sovereignty.
I really want him
To the
to
best of
sneak
my
it in. I
knowledge,
think he's
I
gonna
don't think
sneak
the
it
president
in,
said
and I think
anything
it'll be
to
towards
about
the
it.
end.
I don't think he's stalking them a lot. I don't
gonna
think
bet
he said a word. I don't know why he hadn't
$2
said a
on
word
that
to
one.
Putin about it. And I don't know what he has recently said, if anything, to the Iranians. My guess is he probably
Who
be
do you
more
think
outspoken
smells worse under their suit jacket?
But the
Who do
point
you think
this,
is sweating
folks.
worse right
We
now?
are
I'm
in a
gonna probably say
situation
Trump
where we
because
have
he's a bigger
foreign
dude.
countries trying to
eaten meat
interfere
lately,
in the
he's
outcome of our
probably
election.
he's
His
gonna
old
sweat a little
national
worse than
security
Biden.
advisor told him
Old
that
people don't
what
really
is
sweat.
happening with his buddy,
I'm sure if
well, I won't
Biden
mention
took off
it.
that
I
jacket, it
will.
would just be like,
His buddy, Rudy
dust.
Giuliani, he's being used as a Russian
oh
pawn.
my
He's
God,
being fed
Russia
information
again.
That is Russian.
It's
that is not
tired.
true.
Nobody believes
And
the
then what
Russia thing,
happens?
Biden.
Nothing happens. And then you find
It's
out that
tired.
everything is going on here about Russia is wanting to make sure
Yeah.
that I do not get elected the next president of the United States because they know I know them and they know
They
me.
know I
don't
know.
understand why this president
They know
is
me,
unwilling
I
to
know.
take on Putin when he's actually paying bounties
Nobody
to kill
believes the
American
Putin
soldiers
Russia
in
thing
Afghanistan,
anymore.
when he's
Anybody with half
engaged
a
in
brain
activities
is
that are
rolling their
trying
eyes
to
right now with this
destabilize
Russia
all
talk.
of NATO. I don't know why he doesn't do it, but it's worth asking the question.
Yeah.
Why
Joe
isn't
is
that
not
being
saying any real
done?
points. He's
Any
being
country
just
that
very
interferes with us
defensive.
will, in fact, pay a price because they're affecting our sovereignty.
Yeah, he does sound like a
President
nursing
Trump,
home.
same question to you.
have to
Let me ask the
Yes.
question. You're going to have 2 minutes to respond. For 2 elections in a row now, there has been substantial interference from foreign adversaries. What would you do in your next term
I
to put
don't-
an end to this? 2 minutes
Well,
uninterrupted.
let me respond to the first part.
A little bit of a
as
leading
Joe
question.
answered. Joe got $3.5 million from Russia, and it came through Putin because he was very friendly with the former mayor of Moscow, and it was the mayor of Moscow's wife. And you got $3.5 million.
Ooh, did they
Your
fuck?
family got $3.5
Probably
million,
not, he's old.
and you know someday you're gonna have to explain why did you get 3.5. I never got any money from Russia. I don't get money from Russia. Now about your thing last night, I knew all about that, and through John, who is John Ratcliffe, who is fantastic DNI, he said one thing that's
Yeah, Biden
common
never
to
read the
both
Mueller
of them,
report, obviously.
They
Yeah.
both want you to lose.
Those are tired
because there
points.
has been nobody tougher to Russia. Between the sanctions, nobody tougher than me on Russia. Between the sanctions, between all of what I've done with NATO, you know, I've got the NATO countries to put up an extra
What are the NATO
130
countries?
billion, going to 420
Does anybody
billion
know?
dollars a year. That's to guard against Russia. I sold, while he was selling pillows and sheets, I sold tank busters.
Pillows
to
and
Ukraine.
sheets?
There has been nobody tougher on Russia than Donald Trump. And I'll tell you, they were so bad. They took over the submarine port. You remember that very well.
Oh, he
During
doesn't
your
remember shit,
term,
Trump. Don't
during
ask him if he
you
remembers
and Barack
anything.
Obama, they took
He
over a big
doesn't know
part
where he
of
is.
what should have been Ukraine. You handed it to them, but you were getting a lot of money from Russia. They were paying you a lot of money, and they probably still are. But now, with what came out today,
Bow,
it's
bow,
even worse.
bow.
All
That
of the
calls for a
emails, the emails, the horrible
phone
emails of
sound
the kind
effect.
of money that you were raking
I should
in,
have
you
had
and
this
your
ready
family.
before.
And Joe, you were vice president when some of this was happening, and it should have never happened. And I think you owe an explanation to
did
the
it
American
for
people.
Corn Pop.
Why is it? Somebody just had a news conference a little while ago who was essentially supposed to work with you and your family, but what he said was damning. And regardless of me, I think you have to clean it up and talk to the American people.
Oh,
Maybe you
shit.
can do it right now.
Vice President Biden.
Clean
you
it
may
up,
respond.
Biden.
Pretty straight.
Clean up your
And I
shit.
want to follow up on the election security.
I have not taken a penny
up your
from
dirty
any
diaper.
foreign source ever in my life.
No, Hunter
Learned
took it,
this
and then he
president
Venmoed
paid
you.
50 times the tax in China.
What
has
a
secret
dumb liar.
bank
He's
account
such an
with
idiot.
China, does business in China.
Oh, he's
and in
deflecting.
fact
He's
is talking
defensive.
about me taking money.
He hates when
I've
people
not
bring up
taken a single
Hunter.
penny from
And
any
Trump
country
brought it up in a sneaky way
whatsoever,
without saying
ever.
Hunter.
Number one. Number
They do
two,
sound like two bitter
this is a
accents.
president. I have released all of my tax returns. 22 years.
Oh, the
no
tax
longer. 22 years of
returns.
my tax returns. You have not released a single solitary
It's
year.
old.
of
He's
your
got a lot
tax
of old
returns. What are you
points.
hiding? Why are you unwilling?
He's not hiding
Foreign
anything,
countries
man.
are paying you a lot.
What are
Russia's
you
paying you a
hiding?
lot.
What's in
China's
the
paying you a lot.
laptops? Are you
And
talking
your
about?
hotels and all your businesses all around
Oh,
the country.
it's not a crack
all
pipe.
around the
It was a
world.
meth pipe.
China's building a new road to a new
Yep.
golf course you have overseas.
Yep.
So what's going on here? Why don't release your tax return or stop
Oh,
talking about
nobody gives a
Russia?
shit about the
Trump,
tax
your
returns,
First of
Biden.
all, I called my accountants, underwrote it. I'm going to release them as soon as we can. I want to do it.
Don't
And
get
it'll show
defensive,
how
Trump.
successful, how great
Nobody
this
really cares about your
company
tax
is, but
returns.
much more
It's just a
importantly than
deflection
that,
point.
People were saying $750. I asked them a week ago. I said, "What did I pay?" They said, "Sir, you prepaid tens of millions of dollars." I
Prepaid
prepaid my tax.
taxes. I'm
Tens
not
over the
doing
last
that. Are you
number of
doing
years.
that? No one's prepaying
Tens of
taxes.
millions of dollars I prepaid.
Yeah.
Because at some point they think it's an estimate, they think I may have to pay tax.
boobs
So
look big.
I already prepaid it.
This was
Nobody
not on
told me that.
purpose.
Did your account
Nobody
tell you
told
when
you
you
that.
could release
Excuse
them?
me.
Oh,
And it
interrupted.
wasn't written whenever they write this. They keep talking about
Kirsty.
$750, which I think is a filing fee. But let me just
Chrissy.
tell you, I prepaid millions and millions of dollars in
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah,
Number
this
one.
should
Number
not
two,
be
I
about
don't
Trump's
make money from
taxes. This
China.
is literally
You
the
do.
least
I
important
don't make money
issue.
from Ukraine. You do. I don't make money from Russia.
Bring up Hunter.
You made
Bring up
$3.5
Hunter.
million, Joe, and your son gave you. They even have a statement that we have to give 10% to the big man. You're
The
the
big
man. I
man!
think. No, maybe you're not. But you're the big man, I think. Your son said we have
That's
to give
you,
10%
Joe. You're the
to
big
the
man.
big man. Joe, what's that all about? It's terrible.
All right, gentlemen, I want to
You
ask
did
you
it
both some
for
questions
Cornwall.
about all of this,
Respond
but
to
I'm going to let you both respond very quickly. You just said
Ooh.
you spoke to your accountant
Yes.
about potentially
Letting that
releasing your
simmer.
taxes. Did he tell you when you can release them? Do you
As
have a
soon as the audit is
deadline for
finished.
when you're
Nobody
going
cares
to
about
I
the
get
taxes.
treated
Do you guys care about
worse
these
than the Tea
taxes?
Party got treated. Because
you
I have a
don't-
lot
China,
of people in
China.
there,
Ah,
deep
right.
down in the IRS, they treat me horribly. We made a deal, it was all settled until I decide to run for president. I get treated
Yeah.
very badly by the IRS, very unfairly. But we had a deal all done. As soon as we're completed with the deal, I want to release it. But I have paid millions and millions
Yeah.
of dollars, and it's worse than
This
paying.
is
I
not
paid
even
in
worth
advance.
the
It's
time
called
of this
prepaying
debate to
your
talk about
taxes.
his
I
fucking
paid it in.
taxes.
I want to ask you
Yep.
both about questions regarding your potential foreign entanglements and questions
Ooh,
that have been raised to give
entanglements!
you both a chance
Some
to
point
talk
about
about
this
this more broadly. Respond very quickly, and then I'll get to my question.
Very quickly.
Why did he's been saying this for 4 years? Show us. Just show us. Stop playing around. You've been saying for 4 years you're going to release your taxes.
Don't
Nobody
get offensive,
knows,
Trump.
Mr.
Don't get
President. What
offensive.
you do
Don't take
know
the bait!
Is you're not paying your taxes, or you're paying taxes that are so low. When last time he
Oh,
said what he
man,
paid,
no one
he said, I only
cares.
pay that little because I'm
We
smart.
all should be
I know
trying
how
to pay
game
as
the
little
system."
taxes as possible. Because you're right, Alex. Taxation is
So-
theft.
President Trump, and then I want to get to two questions to both of you.
I was put through a phony witch hunt for 3 years. It started before I even
Did
got
he say,
elected.
"Come on, man"? Did I
They
miss
spied
it?
on
Oh,
my
you're right.
campaign. No president should ever have to go through what I went through. Let me just say this.
Yeah.
Mueller and 18 angry Democrats and FBI agents all over the place spent $48 million.
Yeah, I didn't like
They
that
went
point
through
from Biden.
everything I had, including my tax returns. and they
Including my
found
underwear drawer.
absolutely no collusion
It's very
and nothing
personal.
wrong. 48 million. I guarantee you, if I spent 1 million on you, Joe, I could find plenty wrong.
Yeah, you're right,
Because
sir.
the kind of things
If they-
that you've
if he owed
done
the
and
IRS
kind
money,
of
they would get it from him. They
that
would
your family
withhold
has
like they do
taken.
with us
I mean, your
common
brother
folk.
made money in Iraq.
Let me-
Millions of dollars. Your other brother made a fortune, and it's all
Bringing
through you,
up
Joe.
his
And they say
family,
you get
you
some
don't
of
like
it.
that
And you do
one
live
bit.
very well. You have houses all over the place. You live very well.
All right, gentlemen, let me
I
just
bet-
ask some questions
I
about
wonder
all
if
of this
Hillary is
broadly. Vice
sacrificing
President
a
Biden,
chicken
there
to
have
Moloch
been questions
tonight. Yeah,
about the
probably
work your
chicken,
son
yeah,
has done in
at
China and for a Ukrainian energy company when you were vice president. In retrospect,
She's bringing up
is anything
Ukraine.
about those relationships inappropriate or unethical?
Nothing was unethical. Here's what the deal.
Here's the deal. Here's the thing.
With regard
I'll
to
drink.
Ukraine, we had this whole question about whether or not, because he was on the board, I later learned of Burisma,
Later learned, you
company,
knew. Girl,
that
you
somehow
knew.
I had done something wrong. Yet every single solitary person, when he was going through his impeachment, testifying under oath who worked for him, said, I did my
Deflection.
job.
He's making it about Trump. Just
I
answer
carried
about
out U.S.
Ukraine,
policy.
buddy.
Not
can't.
one single solitary thing was out of line. Not a single thing.
He
Number
gets
one.
angry,
Number
like
two,
weirdly angry
the guy
about
who
this
got in
topic.
trouble in Ukraine was this guy trying to bribe the Ukrainian government to say
Deflection.
something negative about me,
Dude.
which they would not do and did not
He's
do.
filling up
because
his
it
time
never,
talking about Trump
ever,
when he should
ever
be trying to
happened.
clear his own
My
name.
son has not made money in terms of this thing about.
It's in the
what
fucking
are you
emails,
talking
man.
about?
It's
China.
in the texts.
I have not had it. The only guy made money from China is this guy. He's the
No
only
one's
one.
buying that.
Nobody else has made money from China.
You've been sucking
President
China's
Trump,
dick
deal
for
with
4
it.
years.
Let me
By the
ask
way-
my question to you.
But
and
could I
then
just,
you'll-
one thing?
Very quickly.
His son didn't have a job for a long time, was
Bringing
sadly
up
no longer
Hunter.
in the military service. I won't get into that. And he didn't have a job. As soon as he became vice president, Burisma, not the best reputation in the world.
Uh-oh.
I hear they paid him $183,000
Ooh.
a month. Listen to this. 183, and they gave him a $3 million upfront payment.
All right.
That's a lot.
And he had no
she's trying to
energy.
cut it
Vice
off, but it's
President,
too
That's
late.
very quickly, and then I need to get to a
dishonest.
question to you. Very
No
quickly,
basis for
Vice
that. Everybody investigated that. No one said anything he did was wrong in Ukraine.
Okay,
What?
President Trump, this is for you. Since you took office, you've never divested from your business. You've personally promoted
Mr.
your
President
properties
guy.
abroad. A report this week, which was
She's
referenced,
like,
does
please don't
indicate
talk
that
about
the company
Hunter.
has a
I
bank
don't
account
like
in
conflict.
China. So how can voters know that you don't have any foreign conflicts of interest?
I have many bank accounts, and they're all listed,
Yeah.
and they're all over the place. I mean, I was a businessman doing business.
And then he stopped
The
doing
bank
business.
account you're referring to, which is, everybody knows about it, it's listed. The bank account was in 2013. That's what it was. It was opened it was closed in 2015,
Yeah, we are
I
Chinese,
believe.
bitch. We've
And then I
been there,
decided,
bitch.
because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like millions of other people.
Yeah,
I was
Trump, you
thinking
don't need to
about
be
it,
defensive
and I
on this.
decided I'm
You
not
are
gonna
not
do
the
it.
person
Didn't
with
like
something
it.
to
I
hide
decided not to
as
do
far
it.
as international
Had an account
relations
open,
go.
and I closed it.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him,
He
where
should
he's
be
vice
like,
president
I'm
and he
speaking.
does business,
I'm speaking.
I then decided
I
to
would love
run
to
for
see that.
president after that. That was before. So I closed it before I even ran for president, let alone became president. Big difference. He is the vice president of the United States, and his son, his brother, and his other brother are getting rich.
Got a
They're
lot of
like
brothers.
a vacuum cleaner. They're sucking
Okay,
up money.
President Trump,
Everybody's
thank you.
doing
We
it.
do
Not
need to
true.
move on. I do want to ask you,
She's like, let's
Vice
please move
President
on. I
Biden,
hate
about
conflict.
China. Let's talk about China more broadly. There have, of course,
China.
President Trump has said
Drink.
that they should pay for not being fully transparent in regards to the coronavirus. If you were
Fuck
president, would
China.
you make China pay?
Delete
And
your
please be
TikTok.
specific. What would that look like?
What I'd make China do is play by the
She has
international
very small
rules,
hands. Does anybody see how
not like he has
small
done.
Christy
He
Welker's
has
hands
caused
were
the
just now?
deficit
Oh my
of China
goodness,
to
they're
go
like
up,
little
not
kid
down.
hands.
With China, up, not down.
Trying to drink.
We are making sure that in order to do business in China,
Yes,
you have
Biden
to
did
give
make Clorox
all your
wipes
intellectual property. You
disappear.
have to have a partner in China. It's 51%. We would not do that at all, number one. Number two, we're in a situation where China would have to play by the
Trying to
rules
drink.
internationally as well. When I met with Xi, when I was still vice president, he said we're setting up air identification zones in the South China Sea. You can't fly through them. I said, we're going to fly through them. We just flew B-52, B-1 bombers through it. We're not
He
going to pay
doesn't know his
attention.
planes.
They have to play by the rules. And what's he do? He embraces guys like the thugs like in North Korea and the Chinese president and Putin and others, and he pokes his finger down at
Nobody's
all of our
embraced China
friends,
like you
all
have,
of our
Biden.
allies. We make
He
up
made fucking
only-
peace in
we're
the Middle East 3
25%,
times, Biden. You
25%
can't.
of
You
the
ain't.
world's
You don't have
economy.
anything on him there.
We need
Sorry.
to be having the rest of our friends with us saying to China, these are the rules. You play by them or you're going to pay the price for not paying by them.
No way.
Economically.
We are China's
That's
bitch.
the way I will run it, and that's what we did in upholding steel tariffs and
He
a range
looks
of other things
tired
when we were
already. He
president,
needs a
vice
nap.
president.
He wants
All
to
right,
lay
let's
down.
talk about
Am I
North
really getting
Korea.
smashed? All right,
You
I
don't
won't
have to
drink anymore.
respond to that.
Okay.
Yes, make
Very
another
quickly,
drink
and then we're
shot.
going to move
Walked
on
out
to
with
North
$1.5
Korea.
billion from China to
Not
manage after
true.
spending 10 minutes in office and being in Air Force Two. Number one.
I want to
Number
just see
two,
them fight.
there's a
Can we
very
do that?
strong
Could the final
email
debate just be a
talking
fucking fist
about
fight?
your family wanting to make
And
$10
then
million
whoever
a year for
lives
introductions.
gets to be
President
president.
Trump, on China policy,
true.
though, what
No, but wait a
specifically are
minute.
you going to do? What specifically are you going to do to make China pay? You've said you're going
First
to
of
make
all,
them pay.
China is paying. They're paying billions and
China.
billions of dollars. I just gave
New
$28 billion.
sanctions? New sanctions?
I just gave $28 billion to our farmers.
Taxpayers'
Because China,
money.
Oh, shut up, Biden.
Taxpayers' money. Didn't come from
yeah,
China.
you know who the taxpayer is? It's called China.
China.
China
Drink.
paid $28 billion, and you know what they did to pay it, Joe? They devalued their currency, and they also paid up.
How
And you know
these
who got
both
the money?
keep
Our
their
farmers,
cool?
our great
I can't
farmers,
believe
because they
neither
were
one of these guys
targeted.
has fucking
You never
personality
charged
out
them
yet.
anything.
Props.
Also, I charged them 25% on dumped steel because they were killing our steel industry. We were not going to have a steel industry.
Okay.
And now we have a steel
Okay,
industry.
Now we
Vice
have
President
steel.
Biden, your response, please.
Our response is, look, this isn't about, there's a reason why he's bringing up all this malarkey. There's a
Malarkey.
reason for it.
That's a
He doesn't
Bidenism.
want to
Drink.
talk about the substantive issues. It's not about his family and my family. It's about your family.
Oh, you're
And
trying
your
to make it.
family's hurting
You're
badly.
trying to take
If
tension
you're
away from
making
your
less
family.
than, if you're a
Biden.
middle-class family, you're getting hurt badly right now. You're sitting at the kitchen table this morning.
No,
deciding,
not really,
"Oh, we can't
Biden.
get
A
new
lot of our
tires for the
401ks
ball
have
because
been
we have to wait another
crushing
month
it
or
the
so."
last 4
Or
years.
are we going to be able to pay the mortgage?
And our
Who's gonna
taxes
tell
have
her
been lowered.
She can't go back to
So-
community college. They're the decisions you're making.
Kinda hard.
The middle-class families like I grew up in Scranton and Claymont. they're in
Oh
trouble.
my God, you have to
We
drink.
should be
Oh, I
talking
forgot to
about
say
your
screen. You
families,
gotta
but
drink
that's
on
the
screen.
last thing he wants to talk about.
I want
That is
to.
a
I want to
typical
talk about
statement.
North Korea.
Excuse me, just
I do
for
want
one
to turn.
second,
to
please.
10
Whoa, go,
seconds,
go,
Mr.
go, go,
President,
go, go.
10 seconds.
It's a
Typical
fight.
political statement. Let's get off this
Killer
China thing.
killer
and then he
Trump.
looks, the family around the table, everything. Just a typical politician when I see that.
Let's talk
I'm
about
not
North
a typical
Korea now.
politician.
Ooh,
Okay,
That's
you're
why I
not.
got elected.
Let's talk
let's
about-
get off the subject of China. Let's talk around sitting around the table.
All right.
Come on, Joe, you can do
Come
better.
on,
We're
Joe,
going
you
to
can
talk
do
about
better.
North Korea now. President Trump, you've met with North Korean leader
Chicanery,
Kim
yeah.
Jong-un 3 times. You've talked about your beautiful letters with him. You've touted the fact that there hasn't been a war or a long-range missile test.
Yeah,
and yet North
Trump is
Korea
the first
recently rolled
president
out
to
its
not
biggest
start
ever
any new
intercontinental
wars.
ballistic
I think
missile
that should be
and
talked about
continues
more.
to develop its nuclear arsenal. Do you see that as a betrayal of the relationship you
No.
forged? Just 30 seconds here because we need
30
to get on to the
seconds,
next.
that's
So
it?
when I met with Barack Obama, we sat in the White House right at the beginning, had a great conversation. It was supposed to be 15 minutes, and it was well over an hour. He said the biggest problem we have with North Korea. He indicated we will be in a war with North Korea. Guess what?
Guess
It
what?
would be a nuclear war.
You guys
and he
hugged
does
it
have
out.
plenty of nuclear capability. In the meantime, I have a very
Guess
good
what?
relationship
Here's my
with him.
fucking North
Different
Korea
kind of a guy,
friendship
but he
bracelet.
probably thinks the same thing about me.
We're tight now.
We have a different kind of a relationship. We have a very good relationship, and there's no war. And you know, about 2 months ago, he broke into a certain area. They said, "Oh, there's going to be trouble." I said, "No, they're not, because he's not going to do that." And I was right. Look, instead of being in a war where millions
Kim
of
Jong
people
is
sold,
chill
you know,
as
is
fuck
25
right now.
miles away.
That's because
Millions
of
and
Trump.
millions, 32 million people in Seoul. Millions of people would be
Okay.
dead right now.
President
we
Trump,
don't have
that's
a war,
30
and I have a
seconds.
good
Thank
relationship.
you. Vice President Biden, to you,
Oh.
North Korea conducted 4 nuclear tests under the Obama administration.
Yeah, that
Why
was
do
you,
think
bitch.
You would be able to rein in this persistent threat right
Because I'd make it clear, which we were making clear to China, they
How?
had to be part of the deal.
How
Because
though?
here's the I made it clear as a spokesperson of the administration when I went to China, that they said, "Why are you moving your missile defense up so close? Why are you moving more forces here? Why are you continuing to do
Edward thinks Kim Jong-un is
military
dead and his
maneuvers
sister's
with
in
South
charge.
Korea?"
His
I said,
sister needs a
"Because
day in the
North
sun,
Korea
that's for
is a
sure.
problem,
She needs some
and
vitamin
we're going to
D, she
continue
needs a
to do it
tan,
so
she
we
needs
can
a pina
control them.
colada.
We're going to make sure we can control them and make sure they
Biden is
cannot
like
hurt
all
us.
about
And so if you want to do something
promising
about it, step up and help. If
and
not,
bold
it's going to
claims,
continue.
but, like,
What
no
has he
actual
done?
plan.
He's legitimized North Korea. He's talked about his good buddy, who's a thug, and he talks about how we're better off, and they
Yeah,
are,
he's
have much more
stammering.
capable missiles.
Every time you look at Joe
able to
Biden,
reach
you're like,
U.S.
man,
territory much more
he's
easily than they ever
old.
did before.
Let me follow up with you,
That's all
Vice
I'm
President
hearing.
Biden. You've said you wouldn't meet with Kim Jong-un
Oh,
without
gotta drink with
preconditions.
China
Are there
twice.
any conditions under which you would meet with him?
On the condition that he would agree that he would be drawing down his nuclear capacity to get that the Korean Peninsula should be nuclear-free zone.
All right.
That's
let's move
irrelevant
on
because
to
we're cool with them
American
now. We're
families.
cool with
They
NK.
tried
Very
to
quickly,
meet with
10
him.
seconds,
They
President.
tried to meet with him. He wouldn't
They
do it.
tried.
He didn't like Obama. He
didn't
didn't like
like
him. He wouldn't do
Obama.
it.
Okay, I
know
gotta
for
give him a
fact they
chance to
tried.
respond to that.
They
before we
tried,
move on.
but they
You
sucked
know,
at
it's
it.
okay.
No
You
friendship
know what?
bracelet.
North Korea,
They didn't get a
we're not
friendship
in a
bracelet
war.
from North
We have a
Korea.
good relationship. You know,
Bionic
hold on a
Joe's
second.
bionic
Having a
eyes
good
right now.
President
relationship
Trump, we
with
have to
leaders
move
of other
on, 'cause we
countries
have
is
a
a
lot
good
of-
Oh,
We have
you
a lot
can't
of
get him to
questions to
stop.
get to.
Once
That's
he's
right.
going.
And we had a good relationship
Who do you
with
think gets
Hitler
this
before he,
carpet
in fact,
after they're
invaded
done? Do you think they
Europe.
cut it up
The
and
rest of
sell
Europe.
it?
Come on.
Come on,
The reason
drink.
he would not meet with President Obama is because President Obama said, we're going to talk about denuclearization. We're not going to legitimize
Yeah, Alex,
you.
you're
We're
right.
going
She
to
does
continue
need
to
a
put
drink.
stronger and stronger sanctions on you. That's why he wouldn't meet
I'm
with us.
stretching.
All right,
And
let's
it didn't
move
happen.
on. Let's
Excuse
move on
me.
and talk
He
about
left
American
Let's
me a
move
families.
on.
Kristen.
President Trump. Okay, we do
They
need to
She's
move
trying to
on.
moderate
a
like a
mess.
family fight.
North
And
Korea
Dad's
was
like,
a
no.
mess.
We
And
need
in
to
fact,
move
if
on
you
so that
remember
we
the
can get
first
to all
2 or
of our
3
other
months,
questions tonight,
there was a
President
very
Trump.
dangerous period in my first 3 months before we sort of worked things out
Yeah.
a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
There was a very
North
di-
Korea is
they
a
left us
non-issue
a
in this
mess,
debate.
and Obama would be, I think, the first to say it was the single biggest problem he thought that our country.
Okay, let's move on to American families and the economy. On one of the issues that's most important.
But
to
she's
them
gotta hand it to
is
Chrissie.
healthcare,
She's
as you
doing a
both
good
know.
job of moving
Today
it
there was
along.
a key vote on a new
She's not
Supreme
being
Court
cunty and
justice, Amy
interrupting,
Coney
so
Barrett, and healthcare is
you
at
gotta
the
hand it to
center
her.
of her confirmation fight. Over 20 million Americans get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. It's headed to the Supreme Court, and your administration, Mr. President, is advocating for the court to overturn it. If the Supreme Court does overturn that law, those 20 million Americans could lose their health insurance almost overnight. So what would you do if those people have their health insurance taken away? You have 2 minutes minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. First of all, I've already done something that nobody thought was possible. through the legislature, I terminated the individual mandate. That is the worst part of Obamacare, as we call it. The individual mandate where you have to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having to pay for bad health insurance. I terminated. It's gone. Now it's in court because Obamacare is no good.
I mean, do you guys really care about health care?
Run it as well as you can. To my
tell
people,
me in the
great
chat,
people.
like, are you really
Run
worried
it
about
as well
health
as
care
you can. I could have gone the other route that made everybody very unhappy. They ran it. Premiums are down. Everything's down. Here's the problem.
I'm just surprised that Trump didn't have a health care plan called Trump Care. I wouldn't have been surprised.
We have the individual mandate
it's
done.
Trump. It's the
I
best
don't know
care,
that it's going to work. If we don't win, we will have to run it, and we'll have Obamacare, but it'll be better run. But it no longer is Obamacare, because without the individual mandate, it's much different. Pre-existing conditions will always stay. What I would like to do is a much better health care.
Mickey, how's your project going?
Will always protect people with pre-existing.
Writing a bunch of
so
books
I'd like
right
to terminate Obamacare, come up with a
brand
new, beautiful health care. The Democrats will do it because there'll be tremendous pressure on them, and we might even have the House by that time. And I think we're going to win the House, okay? You'll see, but I think we're going to win the House. But come up with a better health care, always protecting people with pre-existing conditions. And one thing very important, we have 180 million people out there that have great private health care. Far more than we're talking about with Obamacare. Joe Biden is going to terminate all of those policies. These are people that love their health care.
What about Biden care, where everybody just gets a jar of Adderall?
They have 180 million plans, 180 million people, families, under what he wants to do, which will basically be socialized medicine. He won't even have a choice. They want to terminate 180 million plans. We have done an incredible job on health care.
Thanks, Kayla.
And we're going to do even better.
Okay, Vice President Biden, yes, this is for you. Your health care plan calls for building on Obamacare. So my question is, what is your plan if the law is ruled unconstitutional
Free
by the
Adderall.
Supreme Court? You have
Free
2 minutes
Adderall and coffee.
What I'm
Stay
going
awake.
to do
Go.
is pass Obamacare with a public option, become Biden care. The public option is an option that says that if you, in fact, do not have the wherewithal to be, if you qualify for Medicaid,
stop mentioning
and you do not have the
He moved
wherewithal
away as a little boy.
in your state to get Medicaid, you automatically are enrolled, providing competition for insurance companies. That's
Let's see if
what's
you
gonna
can
happen.
explain
Secondly,
this without falling
we're going to make
asleep.
sure we reduce the premiums and reduce drug prices.
He wants to
sure
go to
that
sleep
there's
so
competition
bad right now.
that doesn't exist
It's
now
almost
by
10
allowing
o'clock.
the Medicare
He just wants to put his feet
negotiate
up. He
drug
wants some
prices
chamomile
with
tea,
the insurance companies.
maybe a foot
Thirdly,
bath.
The
He's
idea
tired.
that I want to
Let
eliminate
him
private
rest.
insurance, the
Rest
reason
now,
why I
Biden.
had such
Rest.
a fight with 20 candidates
Yeah,
for
he
the
needs some
nomination
Vicks
was
Vapor Rub
I
Ginger Ale
support
Robitussin.
private insurance. That's why I did not one single person with private insurance would lose their insurance under my plan, nor did they under Obamacare. They did not lose their insurance.
He
Unless
has
they chose,
old man
they
hand
wanted to go to
gestures.
something else.
He has like
Lastly,
nursing home hands.
we're going to make sure we're in a situation that
Gotta
we
keep those hands
actually
down.
protect pre-existing. There's no way he can protect pre-existing conditions. None. Zero. You can't do it in the ether. He's been talking about this for a long
This makes
time.
no sense.
There is he's never come up with a plan. I guess we're going to get the pre-existing condition plan the same time we get the infrastructure plan that we've been waiting since
Was that supposed to be a
17, 18,
burn?
19, 20. The fact, I still have a few more minutes. I know you're getting anxious. The fact is that he's already cost the American people because of his terrible handling of the COVID virus and economic
Biden care. Free
10
crack.
million people have lost
Free crack pipe
private
as soon as you sign
insurance.
up.
And he wants to take away 22 million more people who have it under Obamacare and over 110
like him.
million people with
I
pre-existing
don't know.
conditions.
He's somebody who
And
I
all
would
the
visit
people
at the
from
nursing
COVID are
home
going to
and be
have
like,
pre-existing conditions. What are they going to do?
Does he need
I have a
another
follow-up for
cookie?
you, Vice President Biden. It relates to something that President Trump said. He's accusing you of wanting socialized medicine. What do you say to people who have
Socialism.
concerns that your health care plan, which includes a government insurance option, takes the country one step closer to a health care system run entirely by the government?
Socialism.
Say
Yep.
it's ridiculous.
Too much
It's like saying
government.
that, we're the idea that the fact
Yeah,
that
he
there's
is a
public
scumbag.
option
You're right,
that
Michael
people can
Gavin
choose, that makes it a socialist plan. Look, the difference between the president, I think healthcare is not a privilege, it's a right. Everyone should have the right to have affordable
Nobody
healthcare.
wants socialism,
And I'm
Biden.
very proud of my
Nobody.
plan that's gotten endorsed by all the major labor unions as well as a whole
Biden,
range
don't
of other
pretend any
people
group
who,
of
in
people
fact, are
endorses
concerned
you,
in the medical
because they
field.
don't.
This is something that's going to save people's lives, and this is going to give some people an opportunity an opportunity to have health care for their children. How
An
many of you home are
opportunity
worried
to
and
be
rolling around in
completely
bed tonight
owned by the
wondering
government.
what in God's
That
name
is
you're
not
gonna
an
do if you get
opportunity
sick?
that is
Because you've lost your home
kind of
insurance,
slavery.
your health insurance, your company's gone under.
I don't like when
We
he looks
have to
right at the
provide
camera.
health
Creeps
insurance
me
for
out.
people at an affordable rate. And that's what I do.
President
Excuse
Trump,
me, he was
your
there
response.
for 47 years.
Yep.
He didn't do it.
He's
He
been
was
in
now
government
there as
for
vice president
500
for 8
years.
And it's not like it was 25 years ago. It was 3 3/4. It was just a little while ago, right? Less than 4 years
Biden
ago.
is super fake.
He didn't
You're
do
right.
anything. He didn't do it. He wants socialized medicine.
The
and it's not
Boilermaker
that
hate
he
you,
wants it.
Biden,
His vice
and you said
president.
he support
I mean,
you.
She is more liberal than Bernie Sanders and wants it even more. Bernie Sanders wants it. The Democrats want it. You're going to have socialized medicine, just like you went with fracking. We're not going to have fracking. We're going to stop fracking.
Uh-oh,
We're gonna
Biden's
stop
got to
fracking.
work
Then
on
he goes
his.
to Pennsylvania
Trump's got to
after he
work
gets
on
a
his Biden
nomination.
impression.
We'll
That
get very lucky to get it.
was
And he
terrible.
goes to Pennsylvania, and he says, "Oh, we're going to have fracking." And you never asked that question. And by the way, so far,
You know, I
respect
would
very
like
much
to
the
get
way you're
fracked.
handling this.
It's been
I
a while
have to
since
By the
I've
way-
had a
But
good
somebody
fracking.
should ask the question.
You can ask
He goes for a year. There will be
We
no
have a,
fracking. there
we
will
do
be
have a
no
number of,
petroleum.
we have a number of topics we're
No,
gonna
but
get
that's a
to.
big- that's
a big
question.
We're gonna get to, we're gonna get to.
It's
the same
another
thing with
topic.
socialized
medicine.
Fight,
President,
fight,
your
fight!
response.
Finish
My
him.
response is people deserve to have affordable health care. Period. Period, period, period.
I think we already
And
do,
the
though.
Biden care proposal
Just get a
will, in
fucking
fact,
job and
provide
you'll
for
be
that
okay.
affordable health care, lower premiums. What we're going to do is going to cost some money. It's going to cost over $750 billion over 10 years to do it. And they're going
Isn't
to
that
have
what you
lower
got from
premiums. You
Ukraine?
can buy into
Just
the better
about?
plans, the cheaper plans, lower your premiums, deal with unexpected billing, and have your
billing.
drug prices drop significantly. He keeps talking about it. He hasn't
I
done
need an
a
oil
thing
spill?
for anybody
What?
on health care. Not a thing.
Kristen, when
Very
he
quickly,
says,
then I wanna talk
when
about
he
what's
says
happening on
public option,
Capitol Hill.
he's talking about socialized medicine, and when he and healthcare. When he talks about a public option, he's talking about destroying your Medicare, totally
Wrong.
destroying your Social Security, and this whole country will come
Ain't
down.
nobody
you know,
want
Bernie
that.
Sanders tried it
Michael
in his state.
Gavinelli!
He tried it
Thanks,
in his
Michael
state.
Gavinelli.
His governor
Michael
was a very
Gavinelli
liberal
says
governor. They
Dr.
want to
Anthony
make it
Fauci
work.
wants
Okay,
Joe
let's
Biden
hear
to
what
win as
Michael
president and
Gavinelli
to
has to
mandate
say.
It
lockdown all
doesn't-
over the
it
country.
doesn't-
Yes,
very
I agree with you, Michael Gavinelli.
He's
Wow,
running
you're making
against
some
somebody
valid
else.
points
He's
here.
running against Joe Biden.
They want to keep people
I
locked
beat all
down
those other
so that
people
people
because I
have to
disagree
rely on the
with that.
government and we
Joe
all
Biden
become
he's running
slaves
against.
and that
the
socialism
idea
seems like
that
a
we're in
way
a
out.
situation that they're going to destroy Medicare. This is the
Girl.
guy that the actuary at Medicare said, if in fact, at Social Security, if in fact he
After
continues
my
to
boss.
withhold his plan to withhold the tax on Social Security, Social Security will be bankrupt by 2023.
You'll be dead by
No
then,
way
Biden.
to make
What
up
do you
for it.
care?
This is the guy who's tried to cut Medicare.
No,
So,
he hasn't.
I mean, the idea
Oh my God, he
that
literally
Donald
has no clue
Trump
what he's talking about.
is lecturing me on Social Security and
Biden
Medicare.
needs to go to
Come on.
bed.
He
Come
tried
on,
to get
Drain.
rid of.
Seconds,
He
Mr.
tried to hurt
President, and then I
Social
have to go to
Security
another
years
question.
ago. Years ago. Go back and look at the records.
Years
He
ago.
tried to hurt Social Security years ago.
All
One
right,
thing,
let's move
but
on.
this
I'm
is
gonna
the
move
guy
on.
that
Let
when
me,
they
Mr.
announced
President,
Uh-oh.
I have to move on
You
to the
can't
next
make me
question.
stop
They said
talking.
the stock
We're not
market
gonna have
will
time to
boom
talk about it.
if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
Okay, let's move
That I
on to
do
the next
believe.
question,
No matters.
very quickly.
Look, the idea that the stock market is booming is his only measure of what's happening. Where I come from in
I
Scranton and
mean, it's a
Claremont,
big
people don't
measure.
live off of the stock market. Just in
It has to do with people's
just in
faith
the
and
last
shit.
three years during this crisis,
Drink.
the billionaires in this country made, according to the Wall
Come on.
Street, $700 billion more dollars. $700 billion more dollars. Because that's his only measure.
I think he's just
What
mentioning
happens
just
to the
whatever
ordinary
the
people
biggest
out there?
number is he can
What
think
happens
of.
to them?
Let's talk about what's happening on
401ks,
Capitol Hill. We're
Oh,
gonna
she's
move
yelling
on.
now.
401ks are
You've
through the
upset
roof.
Christy.
We're gonna move on.
You've
Are through
upset
the
Christy
roof.
Walker.
It doesn't come from Scranton. That's like
Scranton
he
drink.
lived there for a
Fuck.
short period
We're
of
gonna-
time.
Yeah,
before
you're
he
not
left.
from
on to the
Scranton.
next
And the
question.
people of Pennsylvania
Let me
will
move
show
on
you
to my
that.
next question,
They
gentlemen.
understand.
As of tonight,
Mm-hmm.
more than 12 million people are out of work, and as of tonight, 8 million more Americans have fallen
Yeah.
into poverty,
Stop
and
the
more families are going
lockdowns.
hungry every day. Those hit hardest are women and people of color. They see
POCs,
Washington
baby.
fighting over a relief bill. Mr. President, why
Yeah.
haven't you been able to get them the help they need?
Because
30
fucking
seconds
Pelosi,
here.
man.
Because
she
Nancy
sucks.
Pelosi doesn't want to approve it. I do.
But you're the president.
I do, but I still have to get. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons I think we're going to take over the House because of her.
Take
Nancy
over the
Pelosi
House.
doesn't want to approve anything because she'd love to have some victories on a date called November 3rd. Nancy Pelosi does not want to approve it. We are ready, willing, and able to do something. Don't forget, we've already approved 3 plans, and it's gone through, including the Democrats.
I only got one check.
This one she doesn't want. It's near the election
guys?
because she thinks it helps her politically. I think it hurts her politically.
All right, Mr. Vice President,
You know, the Republican leader in the United States Senate said he can't pass it. He will not be able to pass it. He does not have Republican
Everybody
votes. Why
knows
ain't he
that
talking to
Pelosi's
his
holding it up at
Republican
this
friends?
point.
let me follow up with you, Vice President
we made a
Biden,
deal,
because
the
let me
Republicans
ask
passed.
Vice President Biden a question. You are the leader of the Democratic Party. Why have you not pushed the Democrats
Yeah,
to get a
Biden.
deal for the American people?
Well, I have, and they have pushed it. Look, they passed this act all the way back in the beginning of the summer. This is like it's not new.
Yeah, but
It's been out there.
they're doing two
This
different
HEROES
things.
Act has been sitting there. And look at what's happening. When I was in charge of the Recovery Act, with
Oh, look, he's
$800
mad
billion,
now. Look at Biden's little
I was
mad
able to get
face.
$145 billion to local communities
Ooh.
that have to balance their
Hey,
budgets.
don't
and
be
states
mad
that
at
have to
Chrissie
balance their
Welker.
budgets, So then have to fire firefighters, teachers, first responders, law enforcement officers,
firefighters.
so they can keep their cities and counties running. He will not support that. They have not done a thing for them. And Mitch McConnell
arms
said,
look
let
like
him go
noodles.
bankrupt. Let him go bankrupt. Come on. What's the matter with
Yeah,
you?
Bill that was
Biden
passed
is
in the
panicking,
House
Kayla.
was a
You
bailout
are correct.
Of badly run, high crime,
I wonder
Democrat,
if it's a Trump tie.
all run by Democrats, cities and states. It was a way of getting a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars to
Come
these
on.
guys. It was also a way of getting a lot of money from our people's pockets to people that come into our country illegally. We were going to take care of everything
Yeah, I
for
think
them.
Biden's
And what
about
that
to
does,
blow
and
his
I'd love
top.
to do that, I'd love to help them, but what that does, everybody all over the world
Trump
will
is
start
chill.
pouring into our
He's
country.
still
We
chill,
can't do
and
it.
he's, like,
This was a way of taking
explaining
care
himself
of them.
well in a way
This
that's
was
not
a way of
divisive.
spending on things that had nothing to do with COVID, as per your question.
COVID,
but it
drink.
was really a big bailout for badly run Democrat cities and states.
All right,
By the
I
way,
want to.
if I get elected, I'm
True,
not going to.
true.
I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I'm going to be an American president. I
Oh.
don't see red states and blue states. What I see
One
is
fish,
American,
two fish,
United
red
States.
state,
And
blue
folks,
state.
every single state out there finds themselves
He's
in
definitely-
trouble. They're going to start laying off,
sounds
whether
like
they're
he's
red or blue. Cops,
talking about Dr.
firefighters,
Seuss book.
first responders, because teachers, because they have to balance their budget.
He
and
got-
the
he
founders were
can't
smart.
stop looking
they
at the-
allowed
it's
the federal
creepy
government
when he
to
looks at
deficit
the camera.
spend
He
to
needs to
compensate
not look at the
for the
camera.
United
I
States
feel like
of
he's
America.
yelling at
I
me.
want to
I
talk
feel
about
like
the
I didn't
minimum
clean my
wage,
room.
gentlemen. Mr. Vice President, we are talking a lot about struggling small businesses
Yes.
and business owners these days. Do you think this is the right time to ask them to raise the minimum wage? You, of course, support a $15
This is a bad time.
minimum
I
wage.
do,
is the
because I
worst
think
time.
one of the things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bail them out too. We should be bailing them out now, those small businesses. You got
Dude,
one in
then let
6
your
of them
fucking
going
governors
under.
open
They're
up
not
the
gonna be able
states,
to make it
man.
back.
You
They
can't
passed
bail
a
anybody
pre-
out if
a-
they're
a
still closed
package
down.
that allows us
This
to
is
be
like a
able to
moot
go
point.
PPP. Money is supposed to go to help
I'm
them do
down with
everything from
PPP. Yeah, you
organize
know
how
me.
they can deal with their businesses being
Sorry, I
open
had
safely.
you.
Schools, how they can make classrooms smaller, how they can hire more teachers, how they can put ventilation systems in. They need the help. The businesses as well as the schools need the help. But this
You
these
can't
guys
talk
will
about
not
help
them.
if you still have
It's
things
not
locked
giving
down.
them any of the
It's-
money.
We are going
Doesn't
to
make
move
sense.
on to
One
immigration,
thing very
but I
quickly,
want
he
to
said
get
we
your
have to help
reaction.
our small businesses by raising the minimum wage. That's not helping.
I-
I think it should be a state option.
Yeah, when you raise the minimum
Alabama
wage,
is
they
different than New
they
York.
actually lay
New
people
York is
off.
different from Vermont. Every state is different. It should be a state option.
You said very
we have
recently.
to help. It's very important. We have to help our small businesses.
You
How
said-
are you helping your small
I
businesses
can't-
when you're
I'm not
forcing
sitting
wages?
comfortably.
What's going
I
to happen,
can't.
and what's been proven
I'm
to
sitting in
happen,
like a
is
dining
when
room
you do
chair.
that, these small businesses fire many of their employees.
You said
Not
very
true,
recently you would
by the way.
consider raising the federal minimum
it.
wage to $15
Say
an
it.
hour.
Exactly.
You said
How are you going to
recently
raise
you'd
minimum
consider
wage
raising
when
the
no one got
federal
money to
minimum
buy
wage
fast
to
food?
what I
All
$15
the
an
time
hour.
is
Is that
on
still the
point.
case?
And I would consider it to an extent, but
In a
what I
second
really like,
administration?
what
Don't
I,
get
in a
defensive,
second
Trumpy.
administration, but not to a level that's going to put all these businesses out of business. It should be a state option. Look,
State.
every
Leave it to the
different
states.
places,
Leave it
I
to the
know
states.
different
Less
places, they're all
government.
different. Some places, $15 is not so bad. In other places, other states, $15 would
Okay,
be
President Trump,
ruinous.
thank you. Quick
No
response,
one
Vice
should
President
work
Biden.
2 jobs.
She's like a
one
kindergarten
job,
teacher, just trying to keep it
be
together.
below poverty. People are making $6, $7, $8 an hour. These first responders, we all clap for as they come down the street because they've allowed us to make it.
That was
What's
in
happening?
March, Biden.
They deserve a minimum wage of $15. Anything below that puts you below the poverty level. And there is no
Joe, you
evidence
don't know
that
a
when
thing
you
about
raise the minimum
poverty,
wage,
dude.
businesses go out of business.
Biden, why don't you
That
take
is
your
simply
Ukraine
not
money
true.
and
We're going to talk about
divvy it out?
immigration. We're going to talk about immigration now, gentlemen. And we're going to talk about families within this context. Mr. President, your administration separated children from their parents at the border, at least 4,000
That was
kids.
since Obama.
You've since
That is
reversed
not a
your
new
zero
thing.
tolerance policy, but the United States can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So how will these families ever be reunited?
Maybe they just didn't want to have kids, and they
Children
were
are
like,
brought
didn't go
here
to pick them up.
by coyotes and lots of bad people, cartels, and they're brought here, and they used to use them to get into our country. We now have as strong a border as we've ever had. We're over 400 miles of brand new wall. You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally, and they come in through
But
merit.
how will you
But
reunite
let me
these
just tell
kids
you,
with their families,
Let me just tell you,
Mr.
they
President?
built cages.
Yeah.
You know, they used to say, I built the cages.
Trump did
and
not
then
build
they
the
had a
cages.
picture in a certain newspaper. There was a picture of these
Parents
horrible
took the fuck
cages.
off. Yeah, I
And they
agree.
said, look at these cages. President Trump built them. And then it was determined they were built. In 2014, that was him.
Do you
They
have a
built
plan to
cages.
reunite the kids?
Yes,
with
we're
their
working on
families?
it we're trying very hard. But a lot of these kids come out without the parents. They
We're
come
putting
over through
TVs
cartels
in all the
and through coyotes
cages. We're
and through
making sure
gangs.
there's
Vice President
TikTok
Biden,
in
let
the
me bring you into
cages.
this conversation. Quick
Snacks.
response and then another question to you.
These 500 plus kids.
Did Biden have
came
cards?
with
Really? Ooh, I didn't
parents.
see that.
They separated them at the border to make it a disincentive to come to begin
I would love to
with.
see Biden's cards.
Real tough.
They
We're
had, like,
really
Braille
strong.
on them, too.
And guess what? They cannot. It's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents
Ooh,
were
he's
with
streaming
them.
on Censored.
They got separated from their parents.
Thanks, Charlene. I love
And it
Gavin.
makes us a laughing stock.
Biden has a
violates
greasy
every
deck of
notion
cards.
of who we are as a nation.
Let me ask you a follow-up
Kristen,
question.
they did it. We changed
Did
the
he call her
policy.
Your
Kristen
response
or
to that?
Christy? It's
We
Christy.
did not
They built the
separate
cages.
They,
Who built the cages?
let's,
Jim?
They did.
talk about
Who
what
built
we're
the
Who
talking
built
about.
the
cages?
Let's talk about what we're
cages?
talking about. What
Who,
happened?
who built
Parents
the
was
cages?
ripped, their kids were ripped from their arms and separated.
Ripped from their
Now
own arms?
They cannot
They
find
ripped their
over
arms off?
500 sets of those
He's
parents,
mad.
and
Why
those
is he
kids
mad?
are alone.
This is
Nowhere to
fake
go.
mad. This is posturing
Nowhere to go.
anger right here.
It's criminal. It's criminal.
Let me ask
Kristen,
you
I will
about
say this,
So
they
weird.
went
10
down,
seconds,
we
and
brought
then I need to ask
reporters,
you.
everything. They are so well taken care of. They're in facilities that were so clean.
But some
and
of
have
them
gotten
haven't been
such
reunited
But
with their
just ask
families.
one
Yeah,
question.
maybe their families don't
Who
want
built
them.
the cages? I'd love you to ask them that. Who built the cages?
Let me ask about your
Who built
immigration
the
policy, Mr. Vice
cages?
President.
Who?
The Obama
Who?
administration did fail to deliver immigration reform,
We
which had been a
didn't
key
build the
promise
cages.
during the administration. It
They were
also
there
presided
since
over record
Obama.
deportations as well as family detentions at the border before changing course.
I don't
So
think
why should
anybody
voters
cares
trust
about
you
this
with
stuff
immigration
either.
overhaul
I don't
now?
know.
Because we
But they
made
have
a
to talk
mistake.
about it, I guess.
It took too long to get it right. It took too long to get it right. I'll be president of the United States, not vice president of the United States. And the fact
that a
is, I made
threat?
it very clear. Within 100 days, I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million undocumented people. And all of those so-called
What's wrong with the
dreamers,
current way to
those
become a
DACA
legal
kids,
citizen?
they're going to be immediately certified again to be able to stay in this country
Aw,
and
thanks,
put on a path
Charlene.
to citizenship.
I like
The idea
quarantine, too.
that they are being sent home by this guy and they want to do that is they go into a country they've never seen before.
Trump's in
I can
building, he
imagine you're
can't
5
weld.
years old, your parents are taking you across
Corn Pot built the
the Rio
cages. I
Grande
agree.
River and it's
Corn Pot,
illegal.
it won't
And you say,
stop.
oh no, Mom, leave me here. I'm not going to go with you. They've been here. Many of them are model citizens. Over 20,000 of them are first responders out there taking care of people during this crisis.
I don't know if
We
that's
owe
right.
them. We owe them.
Who smoked the crash
Kristen,
pipe?
he had 8
Who?
years to do what he said he was going to do. And I've changed
Yeah, he had a
without
lot of
having
time.
a specific.
Trump has
we got
done
rid
more
of
in
catch and
4 years
release.
than
We got
Biden's
rid of
done in
a
8,
lot of
for sure.
horrible things that they put in and that they lived with. But he had 8 years he was vice president. He did nothing except build cages to keep children in.
Ooh.
Vice President
Wrong.
Biden, your
Physically
response.
built them.
The catch and release, you know what he's talking about there? If in fact you had a family came across and they were arrested,
Catch and release
they in fact
families?
were
Where are you
given
going
a
with
date
this,
to show
Biden?
up for their hearing. They were released, and guess what? They showed up for a hearing. This is the
Thanks.
first president in the
Thanks,
history of the United
Mickey
States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before.
I
in
bet
America.
that the pen is
That's
that
never happened
Biden's
before in
holding is
America.
just full
You
of
come to the
Adderall.
United
and
States
just
and you
like,
make your case that I seek asylum based on the following premise: why I deserve it under
Why
American
is no one
law.
asking Biden about
They're
his
sitting in
child
squalor on
sniffing
the other side of the
habits?
river.
President
Yeah,
Trump,
40
your
years.
response.
So
Third
important.
Joe
seconds,
is
and then we'll
winded.
It just shows that he has no understanding of immigration or the laws. Catch and release is a disaster. A murderer would come in, a rapist would come in, a very bad person would come in. We would take their name. We have to release them into our country. And then you say they come back.
Bad.
Less than 1% of the people come back. We have to send ICE out and Border Patrol out to find them. We would say, come back in 2 years, 3 years. We're going to give you a court case. You need Perry Mason. We're going to give you a court case.
Trump knows his shit.
When you say they come back, they don't come back, Joe. They never come back. Only
They
the
never
really,
come back.
I hate to say
Biden's
this,
holding onto
but
that
those
desk,
with the
for
lowest
that podium
IQ,
for dear
they
life.
might come back.
Okay,
but they're
President
very,
Trump, let's
very
give
few.
Vice President Biden a chance to respond, and then we're going to move on to the
You
next
don't know
section.
the law, Joe.
Yeah!
response.
You don't know the law, Joe! That calls
Check it
for
out.
a...
They don't come back. Check it out.
All right, let's move
But
on
we don't have to
the
worry
next
about it because they
section.
terminated it, so we don't have to worry about
Let's
it
move
anymore.
on to the next
And you have
section.
525 kids not knowing where in God's name they're going to be.
That's not that many kids, honestly.
Let's talk about our next section,
No
which
offense.
is race in America. And
Oh,
I want to
boy.
talk about
Here
the
we
way
go.
Black and brown Americans experience race in this country. Part of that experience is something called the talk.
The
It happens
talk?
regardless of class and income. Parents who feel they have no choice but
You
to
know, the
prepare
talk
their
used to be
children
the
for
sex
chance
talk, and I didn't get
they
that
could be
either.
targeted, including by the police, for no reason other than the color of their skin. Mr. Vice President, in the next 2 minutes, I want you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
I do. You know, my daughter is a social worker.
My
and,
daughter...
She's
is black.
written a lot about this. She's has a graduate degree from the University of Pennsylvania in social work. And you know, one of the reasons why I ended up working on the east
I
side
don't
of
think either
Wilmington,
one of
Delaware,
these
which is
guys can talk
90%
about race in
African-American,
a way that actually
was
sounds...
to learn more about what was going on. What
all
I
that
didn't,
good.
I never had to tell my daughter, if she's pulled over, make sure she puts for a traffic stop, put both hands on top of the
You're
wheel
like,
and don't reach
when
for
you
the
get pulled
glove
over,
box because
take your
someone may
tits
shoot
out.
you. But a
That's
black
what my
parent,
dad always told
no
me.
matter how
And guess
wealthy or
what?
how poor they are,
I've never
has
gotten
to
a
teach
ticket.
their child when you're walking down the street, don't have a hoodie on when you go across the street.
Nobody
Making
tells
sure
people
that
to
you,
not
in
wear a
fact,
hoodie.
if you
Relax.
get pulled over, yes sir, no sir, hands on top of the wheel, because you are in fact the victim, whether you're a person
You're
making
not a victim, man.
$300,000
If you keep pushing the
$300,000 a year
victim
person,
thing, people
or
are going
someone
to
who's
think
on-
that they're victims when
on
they're
food
fucking
stamps.
not.
The fact of the matter is, there is institutional racism in America. And we have always
You
said,
thrive on that
we've
idea.
never lived up to it, that we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal. But guess what? We have never, ever lived
should
up
have
to
him
it.
recite
We've
the Pledge of Allegiance.
constantly been moving the needle further and further
Oh,
to
yeah.
inclusion,
Julian's shit does go
not
very,
exclusion.
very deep, JT.
This is the first president to
Biden
come
is a
along and
creep.
says that's the end of that.
Black guys do
We're not gonna
respect
do that
Trump.
anymore.
Trump's done
We have
more
to provide
for black
for
people
economic
than
opportunity,
just
better
about anybody.
education, better health care, better access to schooling, better access to opportunity to borrow money to start businesses. All the things
Oh,
we
yeah,
can
you can
do,
start
and
a
I've
business,
laid
but
out a
we're going to
clear
fucking
plan
keep them
as
shut
to how
down
to do those
because we're
things,
cunts.
just to give people a shot. It's about accumulating the ability to have wealth as well as it is to be free from violence.
We got to teach these
President Trump, same
people
question
to
to
make
you, and let
dirty
me
deals
remind
with
you
the
of the
Ukraine.
question. I would like you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
Yes, I do. And again, he's been in government 47 years. He never did a thing except in 1994 when he did such harm to the black community. And they were called, and he called them super predators. And he said that.
Ooh.
He said it,
Never
super
forget.
predators. And they kept never lived that
Yeah,
down.
Biden is like low-key
1994,
very
the
racist.
crime bill, the super predators. Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump. And if you look,
Talk to the third
with the
person.
exception
New rule.
of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception of Abraham Lincoln, nobody has done what I've done. Criminal justice reform.
Yeah,
Obama
Obama didn't do
and
shit for black people
Joe
either.
didn't do it. I don't even think they tried because they had no
Yeah.
chance at doing it. They might have wanted to do it, but if you had to see the arms I had to twist to get that done, it was not a pretty picture. And everybody knows it, including some very liberal people that cried in my office. They cried in the Oval Office. 2 weeks later, they're out saying, gee, we have to defeat him. Criminal
Wow.
justice reform, prison reform, opportunity zones with Tim Scott, a great senator from South Carolina. He came in with this incredible idea for opportunity zones. It's one of the most successful programs. People don't talk about it. Tremendous investment is being made. Biggest beneficiary, the black and Hispanic communities, and then historically black colleges and universities. After 3 years of coming to the office,
Trump
I love
has an
some of those
enormous
guys.
dumper. Yeah, he does
They
have a
came
big
into
butt.
the office and they
He's
said,
tall.
I said, what are you doing?
He
After
played
3 years, I
baseball
said,
in
why
college,
do you keep
I
coming
think.
back? Because we
Baseball
have no
players
funding.
always
I
have
said,
big
you don't have to
butts.
come back every year. We have
From
to
the
come
back,
back
Trump looks
because
like
President
J-Lo.
Obama would never give them long-term funding, and I did. 10-year long-term funding, and I gave them more money than they asked for because they said, I think you need more. And I said, the only bad part about this is I may never see you again because I got very friendly with them, and they like
How
me and
friendly?
I like them. But I saved it. Colleges and universities.
Did they blue
and we're going to talk
Did
about
they
both
mute
of
him?
your records, but your response to that, Vice
My
President.
response to that is I never, ever said what he accused me of saying.
What?
The fact of the matter is, in 2000,
what?
though, after the crime bill had been in the law for a while, this is the guy who said, the problem with the crime bill, there's not enough people in jail. There's not enough people in jail. And go on my website, get the quote, the date.
Oh
when he
yeah,
said
your
it.
website
Not
that
enough
you
people.
made.
He talked about marauding gangs, young gangs, and the people who were going to
Yeah,
maraud
gangs
our
aren't
cities.
good.
This is a guy who in the Central Park Five innocent black kids, he continued to push for making sure that they got the death penalty. None of them were guilty of the crimes they were suggested. Look, and talk about granted, he did in fact let 20 people, he commuted 20 people
Yeah,
sentences.
he did call black people
We
super
commuted over
predators,
1,000 people
which
sentences.
is worse than a super
Over
spreader.
1,000. The very law he's talking about is a law that, in fact, initiated by Barack Obama. And secondly, we're in a situation here where the federal prison system was reduced by 38,000 people under
Something,
our
something, something,
administration.
Barack Obama.
And one of these things we should be doing, there should be no minimum mandatories in the law. That's
Yeah,
why I'm
Biden wrote
offering
the crime
$20
bill.
billion to states to change their state
The
laws
host should ask
to
Biden
eliminate
what year it is.
minimum mandatories
Yeah,
and
good
set
one.
up drug courts. No one
Yeah.
should be going
Where
to
are
jail
you?
because they have a drug problem. They should be going to rehabilitation, not to
I
jail.
just don't buy
They
him.
should
I just,
fundamentally change
he's
the
just so
system, and
full of
that's what
shit.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry.
But why
I mean,
didn't
there's
he
no
do
good
it 4 years
politicians,
ago?
but like Joe
Why
is
didn't
especially
you do
full
that
of shit.
4 years ago, even less than that? Why didn't you
I
do it?
am
You were
not-
vice president. You keep talking about all these things you're going to do, and you're
Yeah,
going to do this.
yeah. When are you
were
gonna do
there
them? When you're
just
dead?
A short time ago, and you guys did nothing.
We
You know,
did.
Joe, I ran because of you. I
Ooh.
ran because of Barack Obama.
Okay.
Because you did a poor job. If I thought you did a good job, I would have never run.
Oh
I would
shit!
have never run. I ran because of you. I'm looking at you
It's your
now.
fault,
You're a
Joe.
politician. I ran because of you.
All right, Vice President
I
Biden, your
ran
response
because
to
of
that,
you.
and then I do have some
Yeah.
questions for both of you.
Well, I tell you what, I hope he does look at me, because what's happening here is, you know who I am, you know who he is, you know his character,
Don't look
you
at
know
the
my character.
Don't look at the camera,
You know our
Joe.
reputations
It's
for honor and
creepy.
telling the truth.
Nobody likes it.
I am anxious to have this race. I am anxious to see this take
You're
place.
anxious because you're
I
on
am-
pills.
The character of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
Let me ask some follow-up.
Excuse me.
Please respond,
If
and then
this
we're going to have
stuff
follow-up
is true
questions.
about Russia, Ukraine, China,
Mhm.
other
Here it
countries, Iraq,
comes.
if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
Yep.
So don't give me
At
the
the
stuff
end,
about
just like
how
I
you're
said.
this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Yep.
Nobody's
Take a look
President
at the
Trump, I
laptop
want to
from
stay
hell.
on
Yep,
the
the
issue.
laptop,
We're talking
drink.
about the issue.
Laptop from hell.
Laptop,
President Trump,
laptop.
we're talking about race right now, and I do want to stay on the issue of race. President Trump,
And I
you've
have to
just
respond
What
to
about the
that.
issue of the
Please.
laptop?
very
There
quickly.
are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have
Dude,
said
nobody
that
believes
all
the
the
Russia
5
storyline.
former heads of the
That's
CIA,
crusty.
both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the
Rudy
laptop
Giuliani?
is now another
You mean
Russia
Rudy
Russia
Giuliani?
hoax?
And
You
that's
got it.
exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly
going?
what.
This
was
is
told.
where he's going. The
That-
laptop is Russia
Yes.
Russia
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to stay on the
Yes.
issue of race.
You
okay?
have to be kidding. Here we
Mr.
go
President,
again with Russia.
We're going to continue
Boy.
on the
Rudy
issue of race.
Giuliani.
Mr. President,
Laptop,
you've
laptop,
described
drink, drink,
the Black
drink.
Lives Matter movement as a symbol of hate. You've shared a video of a man chanting white power to millions of your supporters. You've said that black professional athletes exercising their First Amendment rights should be fired. What do you say to Americans who say that kind of language from a president is contributing to a climate of
Because it's
hate and racial
anti-American.
strife?
Well, you have to understand,
You
the
shouldn't
first time
dishonor
I
the
ever
flag
heard of Black
or the
Lives
pledge.
Matter, they were chanting pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket,
racist
fry
towards
'em
cops.
like bacon. I said, that's a horrible thing. And they were marching down the
Everybody
street.
loves bacon.
And that was my first
terrible thing to say.
glimpse of Black Lives Matter. I thought it was a terrible
The left
thing.
top is a crisis
As
actor.
far as my relationships with
Yeah,
all
Trump
people,
is killing
I
Biden.
think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person
For
in
real.
this room.
Well, what do
For
you say
real,
to
he doesn't
Americans
need
who are
to say that.
concerned by that rhetoric?
I don't know.
and by
I
the
mean, I don't know
videos?
what to say. I got criminal justice reform done and prison reform and opportunity
He
zones.
talked
I
to
took
Kim
care of black
Kardashian. What more do you
colleges and
want?
Universities. I don't know what to say. They can say anything. I mean, they
Yeah.
can say anything. It makes me sad because I am the least racist person. I can't even see the audience because it's so dark. But I don't care who's in the audience. I'm the least racist
For real.
person in this room.
Okay,
bet
Vice
he's banging
President
some
Biden, let me ask you very quickly, and then I have a
multiracial
follow-up
chicks.
question for you.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire.
Wait, did he
Every
just call
single
Trump
one.
Abraham
Started
Lincoln?
off his campaign
Uh-oh.
coming down the escalator saying he's getting rid of those Mexican rapists.
He was talking about
banned Muslims because
MS-13.
they're
Nobody
Muslims.
buys
He
that.
has moved around and made everything worse across the board. He says about
He
the
is
poor
losing
boys.
steam. Joe
Last time
Biden,
we were on
it's
stage here,
time
he
for
said,
your
I told him to
nap.
stand down and stand
Yeah, Trump
ready.
does have a
Come
sick
on.
flow.
This guy has a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
President Trump,
The
I'm
dog
going to give you
whistle.
10
What?
seconds to
That was a
respond.
terrible
and then I have a
metaphor.
follow-up.
You made a reference to Abraham Lincoln. Where did that come in? I mean,
Yeah.
you said Abraham Lincoln. Where did that?
Call him out.
You said, I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community.
And I'm
Yeah,
I didn't say
call him out
I'm
because it doesn't make
Abraham Lincoln. I
sense.
said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community. Now you have done nothing other
Yeah,
than the crime bill,
bitch.
which put
Oh, God.
tens
Oh,
of
God, he's
thousands
so tired.
of black men mostly in jail.
All right, let me,
And you know what?
let me
They
ask
remember
Vice
it
President
because if you
Biden
look
a
at what's
question.
happening with the voting right now,
Let me ask
they
Vice
remember
President
that you
Biden.
Nobody
treated
likes
them
you, Joe.
very, very badly.
Yeah.
Just take a look at what's
Biden's
happening out there.
batteries
Vice President
are
Biden, let me
low.
give you a
He
chance to
is
respond within this context.
tired.
Crime bills that you supported in the 80s and
Ask
90s
Biden what year
contributed
it
to the
is.
incarceration of tens of thousands of young black men who had small amounts of drugs in their possession. They are sons, they are brothers, they're
Yeah.
fathers, they're uncles,
Biden
whose
needs like
families
some
are
of
still
that
to this
gel
day,
that
some
runners
of them
keep on their
suffering the
belts during
consequences.
marathons.
So
He
speak to those
is
families. Why should
running
they
out
vote
of
for you?
juice.
One of the things is that in the 80s, we passed 100%, all
Yeah, nobody
100
cares about the
senators
80s
voted
right
for
now.
a bill on drugs
This is
and
all
how to
their
deal with
abuse.
drugs. It was a mistake. I've been trying to change the sense, and particularly the
Trying.
portion on cocaine.
Yoda
That's why
says
I've
there
been
is no
arguing
try,
that,
only
in fact,
do.
we should not send anyone to jail for a pure drug offense. They should be going into treatment.
Yeah, then
across
why
the
did you
board.
pick Kamala,
That's
who is
what
the
we should be spending money.
fucking
That's why I set up drug courts, which were
loves
never
putting
funded
people away
by
from minor
Republican friends.
drug charges?
They should
I
not
don't
be
know.
going to jail for a drug or an alcohol
Abraham
problem.
Lincoln,
They
leader
should
of
be
the
going
poor
into
boys? That's funny.
treatment. That's what we've been
Treatment.
trying to
Drink
do.
every time
That's
it
what
says
I'm going to
treatment.
get
New
done
rule.
because I think maybe the American people have now seen that in fact it was a mistake to pass those laws relating to the drug. But they were not in the crime bill.
Too little,
But
too late,
why
my
didn't
boy.
he get it done? See, it's all talk, no action with these
Yep.
politicians. Why didn't he get it done?
I just said
That's
that.
what I'm going to do
like he's
when I
wearing an
become
earpiece.
president. You were vice president along with
100
Obama
years.
as your president, your leader, for 8
Your
years.
son was on
Why didn't you get
cocaine.
it done? You had 8 years to get it done. Now you're saying you're going to get it done.
I am
because
not faded.
You're all
I am.
talk and no action, Jim.
We got a
Your
lot of it
response.
done. We released
didn't get
38,000. We
anything
got
done.
You didn't do shit,
38,000
Biden.
prisoners left from the.
You got
out of
nothing done.
38,000 prisoners.
Fight,
were
fight.
released
I
from
want them to
federal
fight
prison.
so bad.
We have
Just a
there
couple
were
of
over
punches.
1,000 people who were given clemency. In fact, we're the ones that put in the
What
legislation.
the heck does
saying
Uhuru
we can
stand
look at
for?
pattern and
Somebody
practice
has to
of
tell
police
me. I am
departments
not
and what they
drunk.
were doing, how they were conducting
I am
themselves. I could go
buzzed.
on, but we began the process. We lost an election. That's why I'm
I
running
lost my
to win
erection.
back that election
I
and
got
change
it
his
back.
terrible policy.
With
I
the
just
truth.
asked,
and then we're
I
gonna
just
move
asked
on
one
to climate
question.
change.
Why didn't you do it in the 8 years, a short time ago? Why didn't you do it? You just said, I'm
Yeah.
going to do that, I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
do
yeah.
this.
I'm trying.
You put tens
Because-
of thousands of mostly black young men in prison.
You
Now
don't
you're
like the
saying
blacks,
you're going to undo that. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years with Obama.
Mm-hmm.
You know why,
Because-
Joe? Because you're all talk and no action.
All right,
Yeah,
Vice President Biden, and then
Trump
we're
is
gonna move on to
crushing
the next
this.
section.
We had a Republican Congress.
You're blaming it on the Congress?
That's the answer.
That's it?
You gotta talk them into it, Joe. Sometimes
All right.
you gotta talk them into it.
Oh,
next
shit!
section.
He
Like I
just
did
called
with
him out for
criminal
his
justice
lack of
reform.
answer.
I had
Okay.
to talk Democrats into it.
Gentlemen,
Oh,
we're running
shit.
out of time, so we
Trump
gotta
looks
get on to
good.
climate
Trump won
change,
this.
please. You both have very different visions on climate change. President Trump, you say that
Biden is
environmental
losing
regulations
his
have hurt
vision,
jobs in the
and
energy
Trump
sector.
still has
Vice President
his.
Biden,
It's
you have
very
said
different.
you see addressing climate change as an
How come we're
opportunity
not
to
talking about the
create new jobs.
gays?
For each of you, how would you both combat climate change and support job growth at the same time? Starting with
I'm
you,
getting
President Trump,
low.
you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Use the coupon
we
code
have
Biden
the
for
Trillion
$20
Trees
off any
program. We have so many
$90,000 wafer
different
cabinet.
programs. I do love the environment.
Yeah,
but what
Trump
I want
is
is
making
the
him look
cleanest,
stupid.
crystal
You
clear
are
water,
correct.
the cleanest air. We have
The
the
best
best,
air,
lowest
the
number
biggest,
in
hugest
carbon
air.
emissions, which is a big standard that I notice Obama goes with all the time.
Up, Obama,
Not Joe.
drink.
I
I
haven't
ran
heard
out
Joe
of
use the term
drink.
because I'm not sure he knows
Suck
what
on
it
the ice
represents or means,
cube.
but I have heard Obama use it. And we have the best carbon emission numbers that we've had
Let's
in
talk about my
35
carbon
years
emissions.
under this
Woo!
administration. We are working so well with industry, but here's what we can't do. Look at China, how
Look
filthy
at my
it is.
China.
Look
China,
at
drink.
Russia. Look at India. It's filthy. The air is filthy. The Paris Accord, I took
It's a
this out
shitty
because we
country.
were going to have to spend trillions of dollars, and we were treated very unfairly. When they put us in there, they did us a great disservice. They were going to take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies because of the Paris Accord. It was so unfair. China doesn't kick
China,
in
drink.
until
Fuck, I
2030.
really need more drink.
Russia goes back to a low standard, and we kicked in right away. It would have destroyed our businesses. So, you ready? We have done an incredible job environmentally. We have the cleanest air, the cleanest water, and the best
Air's
carbon
pretty good
emission
right now.
standards
Women
that
don't
we've
fart.
seen in many, many years.
Oh,
Vice
thanks,
President
We haven't
Tested.
destroyed our industries.
Vice
I
President
really
Biden,
just
2
had like
minutes
2
to
drinks,
you,
maybe.
uninterrupted.
Climate change, climate warming, global warming is an
Climate
existential
warming.
threat to
That's
humanity.
a new thing.
We have a moral obligation.
He's
to do
so
it.
tired right
And we're
now.
told by all the leading scientists in the world
He needs a
we don't
fucking
have much time. We're going to
train
pass the
start to
point
the
of no
neck. Take him
return
out.
within the next 8 to 10 years. 4 more years of this man eliminating all the regulations that
small
were put
and
in by
wrinkly
us
his hands
to clean
are.
up the climate.
I
to
don't know
clean
if I'm
up,
talking about
to
that
limit
enough.
The limit of emissions will put us in a position where we're going to be in real trouble.
Notepad.
Here's where we have a great opportunity. I was able to get both all the environmental organizations as well as labor, the people worried about jobs, to
I need a
support my
drink.
climate plan.
Frank, get me a
Because what it
drink.
does, it will create millions
sleep?
of new, good-paying jobs. We're going to
I'm
invest
sleeping.
in, for example, 50,000 50,000
Oh
charging
shit, he
stations
fucked up a
on
number.
our highways so that we
Drink,
can
drink,
own the
drink.
electric car market. in the
Biden
future.
does
In the
need a
meantime,
blanket and a
China is
rocking
doing
chair.
that. We're going to be in a position where we're going to see to it
He's
that
so
we're going to
like
take
honestly
4
deep
million
down in
existing
his heart of hearts, Biden does
buildings
not want to
and
win.
2 million existing homes
He
and
is
retrofit them so
tired.
they don't leak as much energy.
He is
saving
thinking about a
hundreds of
Werther's
millions of
original
barrels
right
of
now.
oil
He's
in the
thinking about
process
getting
and creating
home, putting on
significant
some
number of
warm
jobs.
socks.
And by the way,
Again, that
the whole
chamomile tea,
idea of
a
what
glass
this
of
is all going to do, it's going
Metamucil,
to create millions
maybe
of
an
jobs.
oatmeal
And it's going
cookie
to
if he's
clean the environment.
feeling,
Our health and our
sassy.
jobs are at stake. That's what's happening. And what right now, by the
I
way,
think Biden
Wall
has
Street
one of those
firms
chairs
indicated
that has like a
my
massager
plan,
on the back.
My plan
Sleepy
will
Joe's
in
in
fact
full
create
effect.
18.6
Yeah.
million jobs.
Biden's
7
about
million
to
more than
fold
he has.
over in
This is
half.
Wall Street.
Yeah.
And
Where
that'll
is
create
JFK
$1
Jr.? I
trillion
know, he should be
more
in the
economic
back.
growth than his proposal does. Not on climate, just on the economy.
President Trump, you're
Today came out and
Frank,
said
you
very
had one
strongly,
job.
$6,500 will be taken away from families under his plan.
Yeah,
But his
his
plan
plan
is an
sucks.
economic disaster. If you look at what he wants to do, if you look at his plan, his
Nothing to do with
environmental plan,
climate.
you know
Oh,
who
get
developed
her
it?
up.
AOC +3. They know nothing about the climate. I mean, she's got a good line of stuff, but she knows nothing about the climate. And they're all
Yeah.
hopping through hoops for AOC +3.
Biden has a
Look,
snuggie.
their real plan, of course,
He has
$100
no
trillion.
response.
If we
He
had
just
the
laughs.
best year in the history of our country for 100 years, we would not even come close
Trump's
to a
the
number
fucking
like that.
man.
When he says
It's fucking
buildings,
10:30
they wanna
at
take
night and he
buildings
doesn't
down
give a
because I want
fuck.
to make bigger windows
He
into
is
smaller
energetic.
windows. as far as they're
Roger
concerned,
Stone
if you
told
had
me
no
he eats
window,
nothing
it
but
could be a
McDonald's
lovely
and
thing.
barely sleeps.
This
He's
is
like
the
a fucking
craziest
machine,
plan
Trump.
that anybody
I don't know
has
how he
ever
does it.
seen.
He's like a
And this
gift from
wasn't done
God.
by smart people. This wasn't done by anybody. Frankly, I don't even know how it could be
He
done
is, he
politically.
drank.
They want to spend $100 trillion. That's their real number. He's
It's a
trying
lot
to say
of
it was
zeros.
6. It's $100 trillion. They want to knock down
They
buildings
laugh
and
when they
build
have
new
no
buildings
response.
with
That's what they
little,
do.
Tiny, small windows. I mean, and many other things.
Okay.
And many other things.
Let me have the Vice President
It
respond,
is
and we're running out of
crazy.
time, and we have a lot
And
more
you'll
questions to
destroy
get
our
to.
country.
So
Oh,
let's hear
she's
from the
doing
Vice
the really
President. I have another
crazy
more
eyes.
I don't know where he comes from. I
Where
don't
does
know
he
where
come
comes up
from?
with these numbers.
Queens.
$100 trillion. Give me a break. This plan was, this is plans endorsed by every major
Stop
environmental
looking at the
group
camera,
and
Joe.
every
Your eyes
labor
aren't
group.
even. Look how
Labor,
weird
because
his
they
eyes
know the
look. Look
future
at his
lies.
left eye.
The future
It's
lies
like
must
scooping
be
up
able
and
to
away
breathe,
from the rest
and they
of
know
his
there
face.
are good jobs in getting us there.
I
And by
should
the
have
way,
mentioned it
the
sooner.
fastest growing industry in America
AOC is a cholo.
the electric, solar energy
Oh,
and wind.
shit.
He thinks wind causes cancer, windmills. It's the fastest growing jobs, and they pay good prevailing wages, $45, $50 an hour.
Wow.
We can grow and we
you guys
can
have any
be
wind
cleaner
jobs?
if we go the route I'm proposing.
I
President
had
Trump,
an ex-boyfriend
please
who worked in
respond, and then I
wind.
have
We
two
are
follow-ups.
energy independent for the first time. We don't need all of these countries that we had to fight war over because we needed their energy. We are energy independent. I know more about wind than you do.
Yeah.
It's extremely
He's
expensive.
full of wind.
Kills all the birds. It's very intermittent.
Oh,
a lot of problems.
he's
and they
laughing
happen to
'cause he
make the
doesn't know what to
windmills
say.
in both Germany and China. And the fumes coming up, if you're a believer in carbon emission, the fumes
Carbon
coming
emissions.
up to make these massive windmills is more than anything that we're talking about with natural gas, which is very clean. One other thing.
Find me a
Solar.
scientist said that.
I love solar, but solar doesn't quite have it yet. It's
No.
not powerful yet.
Anybody who
to-
has a solar
to
panel
really
on
run
their
our big,
roof is a
beautiful
fucking
factories that we need
idiot.
to compete with the world. So
False.
it's all a pipe dream. But you know what we'll do? We're going to have the greatest economy in the world. But if you want to kill the economy, get rid
Yeah.
of your oil industry. You want, and what about fracking?
All right,
Now-
let me
now-
Fracking!
let me allow Vice
Drink!
President
I
Biden to respond.
never said I oppose fracking.
You said it on tape.
I did
Ooh.
show the tape. Put it on your website.
I'll put it
Oh,
on.
Put it on the
God.
website. The fact of the matter
He's
is,
obsessed
he's
with
flat
websites.
lying.
Would you
Flat-
rule out banning fracking?
I do rule out banning fracking because the answer we need other
Oh.
industries
Oh.
to transition to get to ultimately
He is
a complete zero
tired.
emissions by 2025. What I will do with fracking over time is make sure that we can capture the emissions from the fracking, capture the
You want some
emissions
of
from
these
gas.
emissions?
We can do that, and we can do that by investing money and doing it. But it's a
He
transition
needs
to
an
that.
I have one more question in this pod, and then
Excuse
we
me,
have.
he was against fracking. He said it. I will show that to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
I am against fracking. Until he got the nomination, went to Pennsylvania, then he said,
Ugh, I
"But you
need
know
to
what,
know who's
Pennsylvania,
tweeting for
he'll be
Biden.
against
There's
it
no way
very
in hell
soon
he's
because his
tweeting his own
party
shit.
is totally against it."
Fracking on federal land, I said. No fracking.
No,
wind
nice shoes.
or
Hit me in the
oil on
face.
federal
Let me
land.
ask
little
this
one.
I
final
did.
question in this section, and then I want to move on to our
Yeah.
final
Oh my
section.
God. I would.
President Trump, people of color
Be
are
so
much
happy
more
if
likely
Biden
to
just
live near
tripped and
oil
fell
refineries
backwards.
and chemical plants.
I don't like
In
seeing old
Texas,
men
there are
fall,
families who worry the plants near them are making them
Alex.
sick. Your administration has rolled back regulations on these kinds of facilities. Why should these families give you another 4 years in office?
The
'Cause look at your
families that we're
401k,
talking about
bitch.
are employed heavily, and they're making a lot of money, more money than they've ever made. If you look at the kind of numbers that we produce for Hispanic, for Black, for Asian, it's 9 times greater the percentage gain than it was in 3 years than
I
it
need
was
a
under
refill.
8 years
Frank!
two of them.
I need a
to put it nicely.
drink.
9 times more. Now,
Frank! He's
somebody
sleeping. I feel
lives,
so
I
bad.
have not heard the numbers or the statistics that you're saying, but they're making
Frank!
a tremendous amount of
Oh,
money
oops.
economically. We saved it, and I saved it again a number of months ago when oil was crashing because of the pandemic. We saved it. We got, say what you want about relationship, we got Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Russia to cut back, way back. We saved our oil industry, and now it's very
Industry.
vibrant again.
All
And
right.
everybody has very inexpensive gasoline. Remember
Vice
that.
President Biden, your response, and then we're going to have a final question for both
Ooh, a
of you.
final
My response
question.
is that those people live on what they call fence lines. He doesn't understand this. They live near.
I don't like when
chemical
he talks
plants
like
that,
the
in
other
fact,
person's not
pollute
there.
Chemical plants and oil plants and
Look
refineries.
at his
that
old,
pollute.
he has old
I used to
man
live near
hands.
that when I was
He's like
growing
little
up in
old
Claymont,
man
Delaware.
hands. Sorry, I can't
And
get over the
the
hands.
more oil refineries in Marcus Hook and the Delaware River than there is any place, including in Houston at the time. When my mom get in the car and when there was first frost to drive me to school, turn in the windshield wiper, there'd be oil slick in the window. That's why so many people
That's
in
a
my
fake
state
story.
were dying and getting cancer. The fact is, those frontline communities,
People are
it
getting
doesn't matter what
cancer
you're
from
paying
oil
them, it matters
slicks?
how you keep them
okay.
safe. What do? And you impose restrictions on the pollutions the pollutants coming out of those fence line communities.
Okay, I have one final
Would he
question.
close down the oil industry?
It falls.
Would you close
it
down the
falls-
oil
By the way, I
industry?
would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I will
that's
transition.
a big statement.
Oh,
It is a big
transition
statement.
from male to
Because I
female.
would stop-
That'll
Why
solve
would you do
everything.
Because the oil industry pollutes significantly.
You heard it here first. I think
Here's the
Biden's
deal.
got a tiny
That's a big
dick.
statement.
Well,
I
if
know
you
that's
let me
irrelevant,
finish the
but
statement,
he has small
because
dick
it has to be
energy.
replaced by renewable energy.
Corn
over
Pop's mom
time.
had 3 jobs
Over
in
time.
one leg.
And I'd stop giving to the oil industry, I'd stop giving them federal subsidies. You won't give federal subsidies to the gas, excuse me, to solar and wind.
Whoa!
Why are we giving it to oil industry?
We actually do
All
give
right.
it to solar and wind.
We
And
have
that's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is
Mr.
going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that, Texas? Will you
Okay.
remember that, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma?
Vice President
He's
Biden, let me give you
speaking to
10
the
seconds to
states
respond, and then I have
directly.
to get to the final question. Vice President Biden.
He takes everything out of context, but the point is,
Ugh.
look, we have to move toward
I just want
a
them to
net
fight so
zero
bad.
emissions. The first place to do that by the year 2035 is in energy
He's
production.
so
by
old.
2050
I just want him to be less
All right.
old.
One
Is he gonna
final
get
question
China to
both
do
of
it?
you. No, we're
Yeah,
gonna
Is he going to get
China.
move on
China
to
to
our
do it?
final question. We
No,
have to
I'm
move
going
on
to
to our final
rejoin Paris
question.
Accord and make China
Ugh.
abide by what they agreed to.
All right,
That'll
this
push
is
the
about
trend, though.
leadership, gentlemen. And this first question does go to you, President Trump.
She also's got tiny
Imagine
little
this is your
hands.
inauguration day. What will you say in your address to Americans who did not vote for you? You'll each have 1 minute,
Do it for
starting
Corn
with
Pops.
you.
We have to make a country totally successful as it was prior to the plague coming in from China. Now we're rebuilding it and we're doing record numbers, 11.4 million jobs in a short period of time, etc. But I will tell you, go back. Before the plague came in, just before, I
Biden
was
needs
getting
tea and
calls
cookies
from
right now, he
people that
does.
were not normally people that would call me. They wanted to get together. We had the best black unemployment numbers in the history of our country. Hispanic, women, Asian,
Gays.
people with
Mention the
diplomas,
gays.
with no diplomas, MIT graduates, #1 in the class. Everybody had the best numbers. And you know what? The other side wanted to get together. They wanted to
Yeah.
unify. Success is
I
going
want
to
Trump
bring
to
us
say, "I'm
together.
talking."
We are on the road to success. But I'm cutting taxes, and he wants to raise everybody's taxes, and he wants to put new regulations on everything. He will kill it. If he gets in, you will have a depression, the likes of which you've never seen. Your 401ks will go to hell, and it'll be a very,
Oh.
very sad day for this country.
All right? Vice President Biden, same question to
Trump
you.
did
What
good.
will you say during your inaugural address to Americans who did not vote for you?
I will say, I'm an American president.
Do it for Corn Pop.
I represent all of you, whether you voted for me or against me. And I'm going to make
Because I'm
sure
gonna
that
steal your
you're
fucking votes
represented.
and make sure I
I'm going to
win.
give you hope. We're going to move. We're going to choose science over fiction. We're going to choose hope over fear.
These are all
We're gonna
buzzwords.
choose to move
No,
forward
nobody
because
is
we have
fucking into
enormous
buzzwords, Biden.
opportunities, Enormous opportunities to make things better. We can grow this
Empty
economy.
promises,
We
ahoy.
can deal with the systemic racism. And at the same time, we can make sure that our economy is being run and moved and motivated by clean energy, creating
Nobody,
millions of
honestly,
new jobs.
nobody cares
And
about
that's
clean
the
energy
fact.
right now.
That's what
They
we're gonna
care about
do.
the
And I'm
economy.
gonna say,
They care about their
as I said at the
jobs.
beginning,
They care
what
about
is on the ballot here is the
possibly
character
not
of this
dying of
country.
COVID, but nobody gives a
Decency,
fuck about clean
honor,
energy right now.
respect, treating people with dignity, making sure
Aw,
that
thanks,
everyone has an even
C4P.
chance. And I'm going to make sure you get that. You haven't been getting it the last 4 years.
All right? I
Ugh,
want to thank you
weak,
both
weak,
for a very
weak.
robust hour
Very
and a
weak.
half, a fantastic debate. Really appreciate it. President Trump, former Vice President Joe
All right,
Biden.
good job, Chrissie
Thank you to
Welker.
Belmont
You fucking
University
didn't
for
unbutton your
hosting us
shirt,
tonight.
which is
And most
upsetting.
importantly, thank you to
But
those
you
watching
weren't-
tonight.
you were not overly a
Election
cunt,
Day is
which I
November
appreciate.
3rd. Don't forget to vote. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
Good hoop earrings. She's like, thank God this is over. Thank the Lord. I have to do number 2. Ooh, I want them to fight. Do they even talk to each other? Oh, Melania looking fly as fuck. She's got an ombre. She's got a matching. Biden's checking her out. Biden's putting a mask on like a cuck. And, oh, look at Jill. Jill's showing off the matching mask and dress. Look at her. She's a size 10-12. Kissing through the mask. Biden is like, do you have my pills? I'm about to fucking fall over. Hold me up, Jill. Trump is like, I am in... What is he, squatting? What's going on? Alright, alright. Take your notes. Take your little notes. Jill's like, I gotta go put him to bed. He's gotta go night-night. Alright, guys. That was the debates. How do you guys feel? Do you feel more confident? Do you feel less confident? Thanks, Bones. Ooh, thanks, Brady Tribble. Aw, thank you so much. You know, I didn't know how this live stream was gonna go. It's kind of my first one. And I just figured, you know what? Let's wear a low-cut top and let's hope for the best. And I think I accomplished that tonight. I think I did just that. Who is this lady? She is like, I'm cold. I'm so cold. She's like, no, you did fine. And she's like, thanks. I was really nervous. They kept fighting, and I was like, don't fight. And I was like, please, somebody recognize me.
Look, at the end of the day,
oh, this is somebody else's recap.
Viewers got the measure
oh
of
my
both
God,
of these
we're
men.
immediately looking at somebody else's recap.
distills
All right,
who they
guys,
are.
this was great.
I think
Thank
in
you
many
so
ways,
much for
if you've been following this campaign
tuning
closely,
in.
you probably did not
And
learn
yeah,
a lot.
I'll see you guys
But
soon.
compared
Wet
to what we
Spot
saw in
Monday,
that first debate,
7:30
I think
p.m.
there is almost a sigh of
And check out
relief
the
that
Chrissie
we
Mayr
at least got
podcast.
an
Love you
idea
guys.
of what each might do. The thing that struck me the most, though, about this debate was how much the president sort of took his defensiveness and tried to act like a challenger candidate. He didn't really talk about what he was going to do in a second term. He would not talk much about sort of defending. He'd defend some of the attacks on himself, but he kept trying in some ways